Land Use Committee. Beth Killian here, and I will call the meeting to order. We have a roll call of committee members. As Verge had said, George Brandt could not make it today, and Kathy Ziegler was our vice chair, but we have a new committee member who's going to introduce himself very shortly. So I guess I'm the next person in line to chair the meeting until we get a vice chair. Beth Killian, and I am supervisor number 7 and secretary for the committee.
Okay, Chuck Wallach, member District 11.
Randy Severson, livestock producer member.
Kurt Squine, representative from the supervisor, District 16.
Kellen Nelson, District 14 supervisor.
Tony Munson, Towns Association representative.
Mark Carlson, interim director, Department of Land Management.
Verge Gamroth, Department of Land Management. I record the minutes for the meeting.
Chuck Zauner, county conservationist, new guy on the block.
If you want to add more, you can, give a little bit rundown and go ahead.
I was going to say, since Chuck is there
Yeah.
and Lance, why doesn't he give us a little background, and then we can go to Tony.
Thank you for hiring me. I started my career a long time ago in the Soil Conservation Service, and that kind of shows you how old I am, because now it's the Natural Resource Conservation Service. I then went to Green Lake County to work in the Land Conservation Department in Green Lake, Brown, and La Crosse County. I also then went to Winona County to work in the Planning and Zoning Department. My last job was with La Crosse County again as the Bluffland Coordinator. I also was a county board supervisor here for approximately, I got appointed the first time, got reelected, and then got elected again. So, thank you again for hiring me.
Thank you for joining us.
And Chuck, your official title is?
County Conservationist.
Okay. Yeah. Did you say that?
Yeah, I thought I did, but
Okay.
Tony?
Tony Munson,
Is your button pressed?
yes.
Okay.
I'm on red.
Okay.
Tony Munson, live in Rostrum. Was appointed to the Town of Unity Board to replace my father, who was there for 35 years. And now I got elected from the Towns Association and to be a representative to Land Management Committee.
Welcome, Tony.
Thank you, Beth.
Next on the agenda, we have the adoption of the agenda, so we need a motion and a second. It's a 21-item agenda, kind of a long one today.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any questions on the agenda? All those in favor of approving the agenda say aye. Aye. Opposed? The agenda is approved. Item number 5 is the adoption of the minutes from our June 2nd regular meeting. We need a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
Any questions or corrections on the minutes? All those in favor of approving the minutes say aye. Aye. Opposed? The minutes have been approved. So item number 6 is to elect the vice chair. Nominations for vice chair.
I would nominate Kellen Nelson.
Any
I'll
other,
second.
do we need a second when we're doing nominations?
No.
Okay. Any other nominations for vice chair? Any other nominations for vice chair? Any other nominations for vice chair?
I'll make a motion to cast unanimous ballot for Kellen Nelson for vice
Then if
president.
someone could make a motion.
Did she hear me or?
I think her audio is screwed up.
Yes, do we need a second?
I'll
My
second.
internet
Right,
is
right.
unstable here. Okay, second it. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Welcome, Kellen, so you can head to the head table.
You appreciate that, right, Kellen?
Take your name tag. Take your name tag, Kellen.
I'll just be anonymous today.
I do not see Carol Bowick there. Are we going to have a Farm Service Agency update?
I guess not. I don't see her in the room, so I guess we'll just pass that.
Okay, so we'll skip number 7 for this month. While Kellen is getting set up, George asked me to explain to everyone how we do our public hearings. First of all, I will read the notice of public hearing, and then the staff will give a description of the hearing. The applicants will give any additions they want to. The public will be asked 3 times if they want to make any comments. And I think Verge was there having people sign in if they want to make a comment. Those sheets probably could be given right to Kellen and then Verge, since I'm not there. And then after public comments have been closed, the committee will discuss and take action. So Kellen, I'm going to turn it over to you because, like I said, my internet is a little unstable here, so I'll be kind of blanking in and out.
So
Thank
she's
you.
turning the meeting over to you. She just turned the meeting over to you.
Well, thank you, Beth. I don't know what I'm getting myself into, so please bear with me. So we have no FSA report, I don't believe, Beth? No, okay. So next, we'll call a public hearing for a land use rezone from exclusive agriculture 2, EA2, to residential R8 with John C. Kulig and M. Kathleen Kulig of Pigeon Falls, Wisconsin, landowners, residential lots, town of Pigeon, for a possible discussion and possible action on the item.
There will be a public hearing before the Trempealeau County Environment and Land Use Committee on Wednesday, July 7th, 2021 at 9 a.m. in the county boardroom of the courthouse, 36245 Main Street, Whitehall, Wisconsin. The purpose, it's a land use change or rezone from exclusive agriculture 2, EA2, to residential 8, R8, on approximately 16.5 acres, more or less, to create residential lots. The location, it's located in the southwest quarter of Section 27, Town 23 North, Range 7 West, in the town of Pigeon, parcel number 022-00062-0000. The hearing is requested by John C. Kulig and Kathleen M. Kathleen Kulig, Pigeon Falls, Wisconsin, landowners petitioners. Your attendance and comments are encouraged at this hearing. If you're unable to attend and have any questions, please call Virginette Gamroth with the Department of Land Management at 715-538-1916 or email at virggamroth@countytrempealeau, Wisconsin, US. If you're unable to attend and desire to submit a written comment, please send your written comment to Department of Land Management, P.O. Box 67, Whitehall, Wisconsin, 54773, or email to virggamroth@countytrempealeau, Wisconsin, US. Please note, excuse me. Please know that written comments will be read at the public hearing up to 250 words. All written comments must include the name and address of its author and the request that the letter be read at a particular meeting date. Any special interest groups or expert witnesses will be allowed 20 minutes to give a presentation and must register at least 1 week prior to the meeting date by calling Virginette Gamroth of the Department of Land Management at 715-538-1916. Sincerely, Virginette Gamroth, Service Specialist.
Oh, thanks, Beth.
What? Okay. I received an application from John Kulig on April 16th, 2021. Is John in the room?
I'm here.
Okay, John, you want to come and sit at the front table?
Okay.
Okay. And we received the application in April, but John wanted to wait till the COVID restrictions were a little lighter, and also he was out of town for a couple months, so that's why the hearing is first happening now. The zoning was EA2, and it's going to R8. That reason being that to allow for the density of lots and the number of acres that he had, which was 16.5, we had to go to the higher density of R8. So the application or the letter that I received with John's application says, the property is now and will continue as residential and recreational. The proposal is to divide into 2 parcels. The north parcel would be about 10 acres and include the house. The south parcel would be about 6.5 acres and is a wooded lot, which we would keep when we sell the house. The property is 1 mile northwest of Pigeon Falls on Shepherd Road.
Yeah, the
this-
hearing, I mean, the hearing won't be for another half hour probably. Yeah, they make the schedule up, they gotta, yeah. Oh, yeah, yep. It might be a while because there's a couple before this, I mean, at least a half hour. Well.
Should I keep going, Kelly?
I think, why don't you?
Okay, I want to explain that. I want to explain the times that are on the agenda, just take a minute. They're scheduled 5 minutes apart, because
Yeah, I
by
guess I'm not
statute,
sure.
we cannot start the meeting
We're at the meeting
until
right
that
now.
time is reached. And since we have no idea when the hearings, each hearing will be over, we just schedule them 5 minutes apart. But some of them will take longer, some of them will take less time, so I just wanted to explain that, because I think that was a question he has on the phone. But anyway, this public hearing that we're on for John Kulig was published in the Trumpealeau County Times on June 16th and June 23rd. As we said, the rezone is about 16.5 acres. Letters were sent to all adjoiners. I know Tony Jarowski stopped in to visit with me, and he just had questions, as I think a couple of the neighbors did. I do have a letter from the town, which I'll read when we ask for testimony. And this rezone will go to the county board if passed in July.
19th.
Yeah, July 19th.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Verge. What do we do next? Do we have anyone here to offer public comment on,
I would say,
You-
first.
Yeah, you
in
have to.
support?
Yeah, you have to call 3 times for testimony, any testimony.
Okay.
And Mark does have a sheet there filled out by somebody.
I guess,
Does that look
Bob
good?
McCoon, did you get, you had appear and testify for information only, did you get enough information, or?
I don't have an opinion either way, I don't know much about it.
Okay.
I just heard that it would be divided into 2 parcels, one in the house and 70 acres and one in the And I guess without knowing anything, I just imagine, a whole water and sewer and streets going in, and it's really a private, quiet wildlife area. And to see it evolve into something that would be more like what you find in Pigeon Falls downtown the street.
Well, we'd be pretty limited on how many lots he could create there, so I mean, if you took the 8,
So 8 lots, and that would be 8 entrances onto that private road.
He's only creating 2 lots, right, John?
Right, yeah, what I intend to do is eventually sell the house and the north half of the property, and I'd like to keep the south half, which is wooded, for hunting. I don't intend to
So there would
develop
be
any lots.
subdivision of-
No.
Okay, I just had, like I say, not for or against, just curiosity.
At the
I
very
think even
most-
with the new zoning, it would be limited to 5-acre lots, correct?
Like I said, we're just, determining that you're creating 2 lots.
Yeah.
At the very most, he could create 3, I think, with that 16 acres, at the very most, and he's only gonna create 2, so.
It's just, John lives up there. It's a quiet.
Yeah, I understand.
Beautiful area, you're so close to town. You see a change. But I heard 8 individuals would have mentioned that. Come and ask the question.
Any other comments for or against?
Okay, what does the R8 mean?
Wait, we should, if you're going to speak, you should go to the podium and introduce yourself so we have a proper public record.
My name is Tony Jarowski. I own 40 acres just north of John. And like we were saying, like he was saying, it is so nice and quiet up there. I do plan on building up there, and I probably will be coming to you folks for a rezone for probably 10 acres to split off up there later in the later. But when I seen the word R8, what does R8 mean? Is it actually mean that feasibly could put 8 lots in there?
No. There's a formula, well, I don't know if you want to explain it, Mark. There's a formula as to how many lots he can create, but since he had such a small acreage, 16.5, like exclusive Ag 2 zoning, you can have one house per 35 acres, so to divide it, you'd need 70 acres.
Right.
Well, if you don't have 70 acres, then you have to rezone to a higher density of zoning, like we said, R8, to be able to allow for more lots.
So there will never be, at this point, in my lifetime, will be 8 lots allowed on that
No.
piece of
The
land.
most that would be allowed, if I did my math right, without the calculator, would be 3, and he's proposing 2, so.
Well, he's proposing his lot, which is already
And then
established.
whatever's left over.
And then the bottom half of that. Okay.
That's
When
correct,
R8 is only feasible in, like, say you have a 40-acre parcel, R8 means you can have 8 per 40,
Oh, 8 per foot,
per 40 acres.
right, okay.
If you were
That's what the R8 designation means.
Okay.
dealing with a full 40.
Yeah, if you have a whole 40-acre parcel.
Right, okay. Well, then, we're good. I was just very concerned because I just threw $250,000 away, and if we're gonna have, a bunch of people moving up there, then I don't want nothing to do with it.
No, that's
so.
not the intention, Tony.
Okay, well, but when you're reading into it.
Yeah, I can understand that,
Clarification is what I needed, so. All right, I'm done, thank you.
Very good.
And that's why we have the public hearings.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other comment?
Yes, I do. My name's Mike Shepard, and I have the property just south of his, and my concern is, I know where he's talking about separating it. And if you're gonna put houses on top of that hilltop, you better have pack mules to get up there, but my concern is, it is quiet. I own property just on the other side of the road, down at the bottom of the hill, and I have a pond there that was built years ago. And if we're gonna have, if there's gonna be a multiple house site up there, am I gonna be responsible for putting a fence up and guardrails so I don't have somebody driving off and into my pond and drowning? Is, the road is, well, it's good enough for a farmer, let's put it that way. But if it's just gonna be for hunting, I don't know what the future plans are, you can't predict the future. I'm just that concerned about what's gonna happen if you get houses in there and then we have teenagers on four-wheelers and the next thing you know, we've got incidents happening up there. So, but if...
The township, or the pond he's referring to is across the township road?
Yep.
Across the town road?
Yeah.
And it's not adjacent to this property?
It's not adjacent to it, but it's
probably a
just-
quarter mile away or something?
Yeah, it's just the fact that it's the road goes, to get to the property, you have to go up that road, and it was built, 1974 or something like that?
And that's by that, you know, where it's sitting, I mean, it's right on top of the road. It even washes, the cities, or the townships been putting rock in because their culvert keeps washing out on the south side, so. I mean, if it's just gonna be a one-time, or, you know, no housing, like I said, I can't see multiple houses on that because it's so steep and wooded. It's not very good. I think you'd have a tough time getting a sewer and well in on that sandy base, so. But that's just my concern, is what is my responsibility gonna be with my pond there?
I don't think it's gonna change.
I don't think it's gonna change, and I guess as far as liability with the pond, that's something, regardless if he was doing what he's doing, you would have that liability no matter what, being right along the road. So,
Yeah. Okay.
I guess right now, I mean, like we tried to explain, you know, his rezone isn't gonna allow multiple houses. It's only gonna be one extra
Well-
house than what's there right now, I believe. And
Yeah,
then-
but that's now. What about 10 years down the road?
Well, then he would have to be zoned to R20 or something like
Okay.
that. He wouldn't be able to do it under R8.
Okay, then. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? If not, I think we have a letter from the township.
Yeah. I have a letter dated 12/31/20, but like I said, you know, John had delayed the hearing because of COVID and other things. John Kulig, located at W13878 Shepherd Road, Whitehall, Wisconsin, 54773, has asked for a rezone of his property from agricultural to residential R8. The town of Pigeon has no concerns with this change and is in favor of the request. Chairperson David A. Erickson.
Okay. Thank you, Verge. If not, does anyone else want to testify? Okay. Ivan?
Yes, my name is Dennis Shepard, and I have property, 200 acres, just south of it. And some of mine is in the village. My question is, you've zoned this, rezoned this back to residential. We have a problem in the town of Pigeon already, down the road, over the valley, down through, is this junkyard. It's a junkyard. Is this gonna say another one's gonna be popping up here? That's why I'm kinda against this. The other thing is, I do have cattle, and cattle do not like dogs. Next guy builds a house, how in the hell can you keep a dog away from my cattle? Do I have to put up the fence that's gonna be like a good playground fence? That's my question. That's all I got to say, comment about it, but, and the other thing is the topography. Like he said, my brother said, you got a hell of a hill. Sure, dozers come in and move a hill, but boy, it's dangerous. I was on the fire department in Pigeon. We have an incident of one dwelling in the village, or in the township, that, how do they get a fire truck up there? They don't. They pull the hoses up to the hill. That's the only way you're gonna get it. This would be one of the incidences on that hillside. So, that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments before we move to a,
Then you would close the public hearing and go to
okay.
committee.
All right, if not, we'll close the public hearing and go to a vote.
Well, any discussion?
Oh, any
or a
discussion
motion?
from-
You want a motion?
Okay.
One way or the other,
Need a
not
motion.
discussion.
I can make a few comments first on the driveway. You can't have a driveway greater than 20% slope. That's just not allowed. And you can't build on anything greater than 30% slope. And as far as the junkyard guy, he's being dealt with the best we can. He's been to court a few times, and they're cropping up all over the place, and I guess I don't see Mr. Kulik doing that, but I guess there's always some issues in the townships to deal with, and I guess the topography would be limited to what you can do with it. Regardless if you got it rezoned or not, there's limitations on what he can actually do on something that's too steep. So we wouldn't permit something that was on the side of a mountain or the driveway was greater than 20%.
I would make a motion to approve them on that.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Motion by Scoyen, second by Wallach. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Those of you that came for that hearing, feel free to stay or go as you wish.
Kellen, don't forget to announce that this will have to go to full county board.
Okay, thank you, Beth. Yes, this will go to full county board on July 19th for final approval. Okay, next we'll move on to our next public hearing, which is a land use change rezone from TA to commercial for Joshua Daffinson.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Is Joshua present?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to come and sit at the table?
There will be a public hearing before the Trempealeau County Environment and Land Use Committee on Wednesday, July 7th, 2021 at 9:05 a.m. in the county boardroom of the courthouse, 36245 Main Street, Whitehall, Wisconsin. The purpose, land use change rezone from transitional agriculture TA to commercial C on approximately .670 acres more or less for headquarters for an auto repair, lawn care, and excavation business. Location, located in the northeast quarter of Section 7, Township 24 North, Range 7 West in the town of Sumner, parcel 026-00200-0000. Hearing requested by Joshua T. Daffinson, petitioner, Joshua T. and Alexandria R. Daffinson, landowner, Osseo, Wisconsin. Your attendance and comments are encouraged at this hearing. If you are unable to attend and have any questions, please call Virginette Gamroth with the Department of Land Management at 715-538-1916 or email at virggamroth@County Trempealeau, Wisconsin, US. If you are unable to attend and desire to submit a written comment, please send your written comment to Department of Land Management, P.O. Box 67, Whitehall, Wisconsin 54773, or email to virggamroth@County Trempealeau, Wisconsin, US. Please know that written comments will be read at the public hearing up to 250 words. All written comments must include the name and address of its author and the request that the letter be read at a particular meeting date. Any special interest groups or expert witnesses will be allowed 20 minutes to give a presentation and must register at least 1 week prior to the meeting date by calling Virginette Gamroth of the Department of Land Management, 715-538-1916. Sincerely, Virginette Gamroth, Service Specialist.
All right, thanks, Beth. We'll call the public hearing to order and look for, does anyone have any comments to make on this rezone?
Wait, I'll give an overview.
Oh, you have, yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah, let's acknowledge Joshua is present. I received an application from Joshua on June 5th, 2021 for a rezone from transitional ag to commercial. Josh has been really good to work with, and he has several different businesses that he likes to take care of: auto repair, lawn care, excavating business, headquarters, stuff like that. He can explain a little further. So he was real good about coming in and getting this rezoned for that purpose. The hearing was published 2 consecutive weeks, 10 days prior to the hearing, on June 16th and June 23rd. Adjoining neighbors were notified. I have received no correspondence for or against from anyone. There is some commercial zoning nearby if we were to zoom out and look at the land use plan a little more. The land use plan is actually R20. He wants to rezone to commercial. And I do have a letter from the town when it's called for to read.
Okay, thank you, Virg. So now I'll call for, well, actually, do you have any comments you'd like to make?
Not really, just what it kind of said there, just.
Okay. Any comments, questions regarding this rezone from the public? Any comments for the Josh Daffinson rezone? Yeah, call one more. Any other comments for the Josh Stephenson rezone. Do we have a letter from the town?
Yes, I have a letter dated April 28th, 2021. It says, "Dear Sirs, at our last board meeting, the board approved the rezoning of Josh Stephenson property on US Highway 53 north of Highway 10 intersection for commercial to allow garage to be used for repair work. John moved to approve and Roger seconded the motion, and the motion carried. Sincerely, Jane Brown, clerk."
Okay, any final opportunity for public comment? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to grant the rezone.
Okay, motion made and seconded to rezone. Any questions or discussion from the committee? Hearing none, all in favor of rezoning from, this is R20,
Transitional ag to commercial.
transitional ag to commercial, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Your final approval will go before the board on July 19th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. I'll be in touch with you on that.
Okay, next we'll move on to, what do we got here?
Segerstrom.
Yep, okay, Jeremiah Segerstrom. Strom in Town of Hale.
There will be a public hearing before the Trempealeau County Environment and Land Use Committee on Wednesday, July 7th, 2021 at 9:10 a.m. in the county boardroom of the court. Purpose: land use change, rezone from exclusive agriculture EA to exclusive agriculture 2, EA2, on approximately 60 acres, more or less, to be able to split the property at the existing parcel boundary. The location. Located in the northwest quarter of the northwest quarter of Section 6, Town 23 North, Range 8 West, in the town of Hale. Hearing requested by Jeremiah Segerstrom, landowner, Strom, Wisconsin. Your attendance and comments are encouraged at this hearing. If you are unable to attend and have any questions, please call Virginette Gamroth with the Department of Land Management at 715-538-1916 or email at virggamroth@countytrempealeau, Wisconsin, US. If you are unable to attend and desire to submit a written comment, please send your written comment to Department of Land Management, P.O. Box 67, Whitehall, Wisconsin, @countytrempealeau, Wisconsin, US. Please know that written comments will be read at the public hearing up to 250 words. All written comments must include the name and address of its author and the request that the letter be read at a particular meeting date. Any special interest groups or expert witnesses will be allowed 20 minutes to give a presentation and must register at least 1 week prior to the meeting date by calling Virginette Gamroth of the Department of Land Management at 715-538-1916. Sincerely, Virginette Gamroth, Service Specialist.
Okay, thank you, Beth. Do you have a summary?
Sure. I received an application from Jeremiah on May 14th, 2021. He basically wants to split the 60 acres in two so he can sell off half of it. Typically, exclusive ag zoning was affiliated with farmland preservation, and the farmland preservation contract on this land was relinquished in June of 2014. The hearing was published 2 consecutive weeks in the paper, 10 days prior to the hearing. It was published on June 16th and June 23rd. All the adjoining landowners were notified. I received no correspondence for or against the proposal. And if approved, it would go to full county board on July 19th. So that's pretty much all I have. Is Jeremiah present? He may not have been able to make it.
Okay. Okay, so at this point then, I will open up to public hearing. Do we have anyone here with comments supporting or opposition for this rezone? Is there anyone here to comment on this rezone? Do you have a letter from the town, it looks like?
Yes, I do. I have a letter dated May 13th, 2021, from the Town of Hale to the Trempealeau County Environment and Land Use Committee. On May 11th, 2021, the Town of Hale Board met to discuss the rezoning of 60 acres of the Jeremiah T. Segerstrom Farm from exclusive agriculture EA to exclusive agriculture 2 EA2. A portion of the land, 26.75 acres, would then be sold to Samuel W.C. Bates for the purpose of building a house on it. Samuel Bates, representing Mr. Segerstrom at the meeting, explained that he only had access to the purchase of 26.75 acres on the Segerstrom farm, and a total of 35 acres would be needed to build a house on exclusive ag land, thus the need for the rezone to exclusive ag 2. And, in talking to the county surveyor, Mr. Bates said it was decided that rezoning the entire 60 acres was the best route to take. The rezoned acreage is located near Erickson Road on the northwest corner of the town of Hale. A notice was posted on the May 11th meeting agenda, and there was no public opposition to the rezone request. The board could find no problems with this rezone request, and Greg Fonstad made a motion to recommend to the County Environment and Land Use Committee their approval of the zoning change. This motion was seconded by David Lingen and passed unanimously by the board. This letter of approval for the rezone of 60 acres from exclusive agriculture to exclusive agricultural 2 is being authorized by the Town of Hale Board and is being presented to the Trempealeau County Environment and Land Use Committee by Donald A. Halverson, Town of Hale Clerk.
Okay, thank you, Verge. Is Mr. Bates here by chance?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I don't see him.
Yeah, I was just curious. Okay. Any other comments on this parcel?
I guess I just have to say something.
Sure, come on up.
My name's Randy Paulson. We just purchased South 120.
Push your, that's the button in the middle. You might, there you go, thank you.
Thank you, sorry. My name's Randy Pulse. We just bought the 120 acres south of Jeremiah's property from his dad. And I did talk to somebody when Verge was out and had a lengthy conversation with him. Yeah, okay, as I've been looking at you and listening to you talk, it sounded like the same conversation we had. And this sounds very similar to the other earlier ones. There's only one potential lot or that can be subdivided out of this.
Right.
Yeah, they're only making one other lot,
bag.
yes.
Yeah, that would be limited to just that one.
And that entire section is what he's considering to convert to the EA2.
Yeah, he has to rezone the whole 60
The
acres
whole
to split
60,
it,
and he
yes,
can
correct.
make one lot out of
Correct.
that.
To split it,
Split
yes.
it in any direction, or
He'd
southeast.
have to have frontage to the road, but he could go one way or the other, yeah.
Say that again?
He'd have to have 100 foot of frontage to the road, Erickson Road, from whatever new lots are created, but, right.
Okay, that's right. I forgot about that 100 foot front.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure.
It's my understanding they're splitting it north to south, so it'd be,
East and west then,
They'd have one lot on the east and one on the
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
okay. Yeah. As a farmer, I hate seeing splits like this in the middle of a field, it drives me nuts, but.
There's no problem with putting a driveway in with the stream and a little wetland there or whatever?
Well, they'd have to address that, with DNR permitting as far as access and all that. And, yeah, there'd be some things, some things to go through to get it to go through, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
As far as the rezone part of it, that's not detrimental to allowing the rezone, but it would be detrimental to allowing it to rezone.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any other comments from the public on this rezone? If not, we will close the public comment period and entertain a motion to move forward.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Scoyen, second.
I'll second that.
Second by Wallach. Any questions or discussion further from the committee? Seeing none, move it to a vote. All in favor of approving the Segerstrom EA to EA2 rezone signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, same sign. Motion carried. We will move this to county board on July 19th.
Okay, I have the resolutions to pass around for everyone to sign.
Okay. We'll do those quick.
Verge, I have a meeting tonight at 5:30 in the county boardroom. If you want to leave a folder for me, I can sign them and then slide them under the door.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item up today, we have another public hearing for a conditional use permit for Michael J. Hauser and Mary M. Hauser in Trempealeau.
There will be a public hearing held before the Trempealeau County Environment and Land Use Committee on Wednesday, July 7, 2021 at 9:15 a.m. in the county boardroom, courthouse 36245 Main Street, Whitehall, Wisconsin. Purpose: to consider a conditional use permit to allow an accessory residential use within a commercially zoned area. Location: northeast quarter of the southeast quarter, section 30, town 18 north, range 8 west, in the town of Caledonia, Trempealeau County, Wisconsin. Parcel number 008-00381-0000. Hearing requested by Michael J. Hauser and Mary M. Hauser, petitioner landowner. Your attendance and comments are encouraged at this hearing. If you are unable to attend and have any questions, please call Mark Carlson with the Department of Land Management at 715-538-2311, extension 259, or email to markcarlson@countytrempealeau, Wisconsin, U.S. If you are unable to attend and desire to submit a written comment, please send your written comments to Department of Land Management, P.O. Box 67, Whitehall, Wisconsin, 54773, or email to markcarlson@countytrempealeau, Wisconsin, U.S. Please know that written comments will be read at the public hearing up to 250 words. All written comments must include the name and address of its author. Any special interest or expert witnesses will be allowed 20 minutes to give a presentation and must register at least 1 week prior to the meeting date by calling Mark Carlson of the Department of Land Management at 715-538-2311, extension 259. Sincerely, Mark Carlson, Zoning and Sanitary Specialist and Interim DLM Director.
Thank you, Beth. Verge, do we use more or less same procedure for
Correct,
conditional
yeah.
use?
It's
Is
the
that-
same public
Same
hearing
procedure.
procedure, yeah. Mark will give you the overview and
That would be great.
Okay, in 2004, a portion of this property was zoned commercial, for a business. And then since then, we were made aware of a dwelling that was inside of the commercial portion. That's why we had Mr. Hauser apply, and because an accessory dwelling unit is a conditional use requirement in a commercial district. And so we applied, and we're just kind of trying to clean up, what should have probably, been done prior to all this, but it was brought to our attention, so we're just trying to clean it up. And I had nobody from the public commented or one way or the other. We do have a letter from the town of Caledonia. And I guess if Mr. Hauser wants to add anything to that, you can certainly do so.
Nope, not really.
Okay.
Okay. So we will open up for public comment. If anyone has any public comments on that, please come forward. Looking for public comments on the rezone for Michael Hauser and Mary Hauser.
no, it's not a rezone.
Or, excuse me, conditional use permit, sorry.
Just want to keep it clear.
Yep, appreciate that. So looking for public comments on a conditional use permit for the Hausers. Seeing nobody here for public comment, I'll close public comment.
I'll read the
Letter
town
from
of
the town.
Caledonia.
Read the
letter
town
first.
letter, sure.
Okay, May 24th, 2021, In regards to Mike Hauser conditional use, the Town of Caledonia Town Board was informed by Mike Hauser that he would like to request a conditional use permit to allow an accessory dwelling unit in a commercial property. His property is located at W21021 South Street, Trempealeau. The Town of Caledonia Town Board unanimously passed a motion at their May 19th, 2021 board meeting stating that they recommend this request. Sincerely, Blaise Stegemeyer, Town of Caledonia Clerk Treasurer.
Okay, thank you, Mark. What's that?
You're welcome, that's it.
Okay, good. We will now close public comment and entertain a motion to move forward.
I'll make a motion to approve this conditional use permit.
I'll second it.
Motion by Wallach, second by, sorry, I can't, yeah. So, we have motion made and seconded.
Discussion.
Any discussion, questions for Mr. Hauser?
I would just like some clarification. This was zoned commercial and they have built a structure, so it just needs to be cleaned up.
Yes, I mean, there's a portion of the commercial part of the existing building that was, made into living quarters or a dwelling, and then we're just trying to clean up this property as far as having it zoned and a conditional use done correctly on it.
So do you think there are any conditions that we need to put on it?
I don't think so. I mean, he's got a functional well and septic system that's normal with any other dwelling. I don't see that as an issue, and, as far as, his commercial portion of it can remain the same, and I don't think we need to put any additional conditions on it.
Thank you for clarifying. Verge, did you hand out to everyone the reasons for the conditional use?
Yeah, everyone should have in their meeting packet folder the basis of approval for conditional use permits.
Yes.
It's on page, well, it's technically page 2, but it's page 75. There's a basis for approval, and then there's 10 points that, or 16 actually, that the board should consider when approving a conditional use.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that everyone got that and that they've read through that, because sometimes I think we may approve things without really actually going through all of those items.
Beth, I think for the record, and Kellen, I think you should just go through those quick.
Run
each
through
one.
them?
Yeah,
Okay.
on each
And
conditional use
see if we can meet all of them. Okay, so, first thing, will the proposed project adversely affect property in the area? Would be the first question. The second one is whether the proposed use is similar to other uses in the area. The third thing to consider would be whether the proposed project is consistent with adopted Trempealeau County plans or any officially adopted town plan. There needs to be a provision of an approved sanitary waste disposal system. Mark has noted that there is one. Provision for potable water supply. Again, solid proposed provisions for solid waste disposal, same thing. The next thing to consider is whether the proposed use creates noise, odor, or dust. And a provision of safe vehicular and pedestrian access. I don't think there'd be any issues there. Whether the proposed project adversely impacts neighborhood traffic flow and congestion. Need to consider the adequacy of emergency services and their ability to service the site. We also need to consider the provision for proper surface water drainage. Also need to consider whether proposed buildings contribute a visual harmony with existing buildings in the neighborhood, particularly as related to scale and design. Whether the proposed project creates excessive exterior lighting glare or spillover onto neighboring properties. 14, whether the proposed project leads to a change in the natural character of the area through the removal of natural vegetation or altering the topography. Whether the proposed project would adversely affect the natural beauty of the area, and also whether the proposed project would adversely affect any historic or archaeological sites. So those would be the points to consider when moving forward with a conditional use permit. After reading those, do we have any questions or discussion from the committee?
Thank you for going through those. In my copies here, I'm missing page 75, but I did hear you read all of those, and I don't see anything for this conditional use permit that would apply negatively.
I was just gonna add, I'm familiar with the area, the site, and I don't see any problem satisfying any of the points.
Is your mic on?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments, discussion from the committee? If not, we will move forward to a vote on the conditional use permit for the Michael Hauser and Mary Hauser. All in favor of approving the conditional use permit, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, and this will go to,
No, this is approved.
this is approved, okay. This is done.
Approved it.
You're good.
Right now.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. We have another conditional use permit. This one from Benjamin Vasquez, or Benjamin and Susan Vasquez of Arcadia.
This is a conditional use permit for an athletic field. There will be a public hearing held before the Trempealeau County Environment and Land Use Committee on Wednesday, July 7th, 2021 at 9:20 a.m. in the county boardroom, the courthouse 36245 Main Street, Whitehall, Wisconsin. Purpose, to consider a conditional use permit for an athletic field. Location, southeast quarter of the southeast quarter, section 2, town 20 north, range 9 west in the town of Arcadia, Trempealeau County, Wisconsin, parcel number 004-01462-0000. Hearing requested by Benjamin Vasquez, petitioner Benjamin J. and Suzanne C. Vasquez, landowner, Arcadia, Wisconsin. Your attendance and comments are encouraged at this hearing. If you are unable to attend and have any questions, please call Mark Carlson with the Department of Land Management at 715-538-2311, extension 259, or email to Mark Carlson at County Trempealeau, Wisconsin, U.S. If you are unable to attend and desire to submit a written comment, please send your written comments to Department of Land Management, P.O. Box 67, Whitehall, Wisconsin, 54773, or email to Mark Carlson at County Trempealeau, Wisconsin, U.S. Please know that written comments will be read at the public hearing up to 250 words. All written comments must include the name and address of its author. Any special interest groups or expert witnesses will be allowed 20 minutes to give a presentation and must register at least 1 week prior to the meeting date by calling Mark Carlson of the Department of Land Management, 715-538-231, extension 259. Sincerely, Mark Carlson, Zoning and Sanitary Specialist, Interim DLM Director.
Okay, thank you, Beth.
Well, I was made aware that this is an after-the-fact conditional use. The use is already in use. We're doing the conditional use permit after the fact with public input. We were made aware of it last fall that it was constructed. I'm kind of basing it on another conditional use we did for another public type use, and it was a BMX type track. This is a soccer field, but the other one was a BMX track that we required a conditional use permit, that put conditions of certain types of hours of operation and lighting and all that sort of stuff. So we're deciding we're gonna go with the conditional use permit application to allow the public to speak. I do have numerous registration forms of people that want to speak. And I got a letter from the town and also some letters that I'll be reading in during the testimony. And I guess, I think Benjamin can explain it better, but his whole intent was, you know, for children to come there and play soccer because they, you know, school was limited and all this other scenario, but, and then it seems to be that it's morphed into something more than that, and Ben can explain all that, you know, what's going on there, and then the public will have a chance to, you know, come up and voice their opinion on it.
Okay. Ben, would you like to?
Ben is here. You want to come?
Would you like
sit
to
with the
come
table?
up? We can. Would you want to give us a overview on you know?
Yeah.
The use
So this originally, like you said, it started off last spring or summer about this time. Kind of became our COVID project is what happened when we all kind of got forced to do nothing for a while. We moved back out to our farmhouse during the spring and during the whole pandemic deal, and fortunate for us, we were able to have an area to go play and go do things. And so there was an area on our farm in front of our house that we wanted to always level off to have a flat playing space. And so as we were out there, I was like, okay, I want to go ahead and do this so we have an area to play. But then as the shutdown started happening more and more, and schools were shut down, rec programs were shut down, pools were closed, all the fields in town were closed, there was just nowhere for kids to do anything outside and active. And so our kids were at an age where they have a lot of friends that like to play. And so we started inviting kids out to play. And so instead of developing this flat spot into just a grass lawn, we decided to turn it into an actual playing facility, and we turfed it and enclosed it with walls and netting to keep balls and stuff inside. And so we can actually use it throughout the entire year, since in Wisconsin, you know, we're limited in the springs and the winters and stuff. And so that was the initial plan, and it was fun. We had a lot of kids come out and play. And we also, this spring, we created a new Arcadia United soccer program for the youth to come out, which we help sponsor and promote and everything. But as this started to grow, we had more kids come out, more kids wanted to play, which was our whole intent. But it started to get a lot of attention, and which was good on the kid end. But what we needed to do was to figure out how to manage the people that came in and to make sure that we do it in a way that's respectful to everybody around us and whatnot. And so that's why I think Mark contacted me and it said, you know, if you're going to have people other than friends and family out, we need to do a conditional use report and figure out guidelines and rules and everything like that. And so I'm glad we got this going. I know we did talk with my neighbors originally when we first started this, and everybody was kind of supportive and on board. And I know as it's been growing, there's been a lot of concerns about traffic and people and stuff. And so it's all stuff that I need to address as well. But it's good that we can have an open dialogue here. I hope everybody can kind of let me know how they feel and what we can do. But in the whole grand scheme, it's been amazing, especially for kids my kids' age. We've so many opportunities. We've had kids come out that never want to either do soccer or do baseball or do any sports, or are just stuck inside on screens all day long. This has kind of been an outlet for them to come out and play in a controlled environment, especially after coming out of this pandemic environment where everything has to be so rigid and strict with rules. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. I don't know if it explains what the project was for and the intent of the field.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's where we're at.
Okay. Thank you. I think we're gonna.
We'll just call everybody up that's
So,
registered.
yeah, we'll begin the public hearing comment, and I'm just gonna go right from the top. I'm gonna call up Darren Malcheski.
Do you want to read what he checked?
Okay, Darren's here. He's wished to testify in opposition today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Darren Malashevsky, and along with my family, we have purchased a property directly across from Ben and Suzanne's farm in September of 2019. For the first year, the privacy and tranquility of our new home was very welcomed. As many of you might know, we came off of a busy Highway 93 where we used to live. We loved it, and we felt very blessed for the opportunity to purchase that property. That feeling of gratefulness quickly diminished to worry and concern as the newly constructed venue directly across the street from us was being built. Our concerns included spectators walking across that street to our horse pasture to feed and pet my wife's horses. We do not know what they're feeding them. We don't know if they know how to feed them, and speaking from experience, it hurts if you don't know how to. But this is a minor concern compared to what happens when the stray soccer ball gets kicked into the pasture. We've witnessed spectators or players sneaking under the fence to retrieve their ball. Rightfully so, the game must go on, but we don't know if we need to carry additional liabilities insurance if our horses were to come up and startle the pedestrian or not. Recently, a new entrance and exit was created to the parking lot of the venue, and while this does do a better job of protecting the spectators from vehicles at the venue, it does create a hazard when the vehicles are leaving, because it's hard to depict on that screen, but it is coming out on a blind curve. And directly across from that blind curve is our home. Additionally, at night, when the vehicles exit, the headlights shine directly into my daughter's bedroom. Even with the shades pulled shut, it disturbs her sleep. So in closing, I'd like to mention at the beginning, we did support your endeavors for building the field and supporting the youth. But at the time, we were kind of under the impression that it was for your kids and for the random pickup game of soccer. Knowing what we now know, my wife and I would not have purchased the property, and we would have chose to raise our kids in a different location where peace, privacy, and tranquility would be abundant, and that's something that we first had when we moved to Cyril Sabota Lane in September of 2019. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren. We will next hear from Sandy Chapman, who is here to testify in opposition.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to speak here. Thank you for your time and listening to all of us. I'm Sandy Chapman. I'm the oldest daughter of Rudy and Betty Sabota, who this property is right next to. My husband and I live in the village of Holman for the past 25 years, and we raised two children. One of them are here who are 20 and 23 years old. I'm in opposition to this conditional use permit for several reasons that you'll hear from my family. But I was really surprised to be at my work in La Crosse, and a coworker of mine told me that she went to a soccer game out in the town, in the field in the country, right next to a pasture with nice horses, a little barn, a cute little mailbox. And it was pretty disappointing to me to hear, like, wow, a field location is describing my parents' property. I asked where it was. She said in Arcadia. And here she's describing my parents' property. My kids played club ball all over the tri-state. We've never once described a location of a field by it's right next to my dad's property with barns and mailboxes and residential. Usually it's next to Quick Trip, it's next to the library, it's next to the firehouse. This is not where you usually go to play your softball, play your games. It was disappointing when she said that the owner was talking to the parents in the stands during the Rush Cooley Region soccer, that he planned to build a sports complex, he planned to expand it, add eateries, he wanted to add hotels, he wanted to have a complex for more than soccer. Please spread the word, get the word out. That's disappointing that I have to hear about this, because what I knew about the property prior to that lunch was that Ben told my dad that he felt sorry for the kids because it was COVID, because he wanted a place for his kids to play. And he wanted his kids to bring his friends to play. My dad has watched my kids enjoy and play outside in the country. When growing up, my kids have been invited to friends' home in the neighborhood. In my neighborhood, I live in the village of Holman. We have 2 families that have a half-court basketball slab. Before they put it in, they talked to the neighbors, then they went to the village in Holman and found, what can I do? Can I put this in? They follow the rules, they put it in. We have a person that's 2 doors down in the little village of Holman, and they have a full-size, standard-size volleyball court. She now plays she plays at Viterbo. She got recruited. We'd go to play that. She asked the neighbors, they went to the village, found out what they can do, and they put it in. That's what you need to do. That's what didn't happen in this situation. When my dad didn't question things coming up, because he is used to my kids talking to him, hey Dad, guess what? We want to play sports. We're gonna go to Kenzie's house. We're gonna go to the basketball court that our neighbors have. We're gonna go to a town in Alaska. They have a full-size court in their basement with a water bubbler, with a scoreboard in their basement for private use. And they spent the money on it. My son went to a baseball outside and a batting cage inside someone's house. My daughter went to a softball cage that's the 4-stall garage, private use. I paid for public businesses for my kids so that they can do this. And we support it. We love it. My parents have been to every game. I was going to come in Arcadia attire because we support this, but not what this isn't what he was planning to do. I was secretary of the Home and Youth Baseball Parents Association. We had hundreds of kids playing baseball. I was from the front end of it when it started with less than 100 kids. We rose to 600 kids. On that board and in that meeting, we held them at the Village Pizza Corral, just like you guys all. You come up there, Hard Work Farmers Day and Sunday nights, and we sat there with farmers and teachers, business people, nonprofit, fundraisers, Aquinas, all the big people that had money, loads of money. They wanted to find a place to build this, to expand the parks, to go in country. They couldn't find any property owner, any of them that would give up their land because they didn't want to upset what was zoned. They wanted to save it for the future use. They wanted to go ahead and save it because when people would subdivide it, this was out in the country. People, they're not willing to do it. They want a facility and none of our landowners want it next to their property. So Ben, we love your facility, but so does everybody else. But no one wants it next to their property with what you turned it into. It's no longer a place for kids to come and play. I've been told, Ben, that's a successful business and a rental property owner. You're college educated. I looked on your Facebook page. You're an engaged parent. You're an amazing parent in the community. From the photos and videos I've seen, this privately owned facility is hosting a soccer league, turning 11 camps. It's top notch. It's great. Without a doubt, Ben, you did your research to determine the size of your field, the location. It's a speed soccer. You did your research. How big do you want your lights? How big do you want your videography? How big do you want your scoreboard? You've got a flag. I've got 2 kids in the military, and I salute you to putting that flag on. I hear Star Spangled Banner, and I melt. Thank you. But I have a flag in our yard, too, and I subscribe to the Wisconsin, tells you when you can lower it and raise it. We have rules to follow. I'm an owner, and I know I need to do that. I think that with the research that you did for all the other things, I think I'm naive, my parents are naive, anybody's naive to think that he didn't know that you need to check with somebody. You need to check with somebody. You go to the park, you follow the rules. You go to the home to do a bake sale, you follow the rules. You have a rummage sale. You just know. You call somebody, what do I do? You reach out. If you have the internet, you're educated. Pick up the phone. You could have done that. I really believe that Ben wants you as a committee, he wants us to excuse his disrespect and dishonesty for his neighbors. He wants to forget that he plans to expand the business. He's hiring a marketing specialist. He wants us to forgive him for building and operating it. The Blue Chick Athletics Farm, LLC, that's the name of it, without having the appropriate permits and without talking to my dad or the neighbors. He could have at any point when it turned to say, wow, I want to go business, he could have said to Dad that he wanted to do this. I would really like to say, to consider what would happen next. How would this be enforced? What's the outcome of this? I think that I oppose it and would really appreciate if we would have a chance to have this somewhere else and do another conditional use permit in another location, and you would probably have support. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sandy. Next, we will hear from Kathy Wozny. who wishes to testify in opposition?
Well, it's, you probably should go to the podium, but I mean, if you need to go up here and can speak loud enough, I'm sure that's fine. Our concern is that they can hear you speak, you know. Okay. Well, I don't know. Daryl's right there.
No, mine's similar to what Sandy said.
Or you could sit here and use the microphone.
Right.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Or he did introduce you.
They gotta go to present. That's fine. All right, I'm here today after the fact to oppose why the Vasquez's, can you hear me?
Mike?
Oh,
It
sorry.
is on.
It is, oh, sorry. I thought it was right.
Well, red light's
Usually
on
I'm the
here.
loud one. Testing, testing.
I don't know, her red light is on down here, but this one isn't on.
You want me to go up there?
Oh.
I'll go up there.
We could just.
All right. I'm here today after the fact. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Sorry. To oppose why the Vasquez's should not receive a conditional use permit for an athletic field. No conditions such as parking restrictions, pointing the lights in different directions, or curfews can mitigate the loss of privacy, fear of being safe in your own backyard, increased traffic noise, liability issues, safety of our animals, or any other negative impact this venue has imposed on the quiet, dead-end country road of Cyril Sabota Lane. I'm not a lawyer, and I found a document that was drafted by the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point to be helpful in my research. The link is connected to this slideshow later. It states that the proposed conditional use shall be designed, constructed, you guys all know that, and operated and maintained to be compatible with uses on surrounding land. The site shall minimize the impact of the site activity on surrounding properties, and it goes on to talk about all the requirements. But clearly, an athletic field is not compatible with the surrounding land. The surrounding land consists of a retired couple's backyard, a horse pasture that has had horses grazing in it for the past 42 years. You can see for yourself on the pictures that I'm going to show you that have been included on Facebook pages. I'm not on Facebook personally. My sister is and helped me out with that. Just another piece of my family's privacy that has been stripped away by the farm. The neighbors across the road, and Darren spoke on that, are new to Cyril Sabota Lane, like he said, but things haven't changed over there. Ben's grandparents were the previous owners and have had horses there from the beginning. That entire property is also exposed on Facebook photos and videos, along with their horse pasture. This is the opposite of compatible. And I know Ben comes to you today asking for forgiveness, not permission. I guess I ask why. He's a very knowledgeable young man. In fact, he runs a successful business in town. He has purchased land. He manages rental properties. He has constructed buildings. And in my opinion, he's very familiar with the laws surrounding these types of transactions. He clearly was aware that this new adventure was not well suited for a quiet, secluded, dead-end road removed just enough away from the city of Arcadia. As we proceed, please note the purposeful meaning of the pictures and videos that they post on Facebook. Was it for the kids? Or was it just a great marketing strategy to promote his new business? If the kids couldn't play ball at school, then was it safe for them to play at the farm? If it was for the kids, then what kind of lesson are we teaching them? To not follow rules like every other taxpayer has to? I wonder what guidelines the farm followed. Currently, I'm not aware of any zoning, DNR erosion control measures, like a silt fence during construction. Were there sanitation? Were there other permits? Was runoff controlled? What about the grading? Concessions have been served out there. Not sure about alcohol. I'm sure he's not serving it, but we think it's been present. I mean, are there permits for each event? I mean, what restriction will be placed on this property? Has he abided by any of them? Once again, I know Ben's savvy and very smart, and anyone really that has a computer could obtain this information that would be necessary to start a project like this. And, you know, perhaps, and I've heard that This is something our township or counties never thought would ever happen. An athletic field, you know, in the middle of nowhere, basically. But he's smart. Instead of applying for permits in advance, he knew that it probably would not be considered in an agricultural zone, and maybe he would not, you know, he wouldn't have got his way. I put together some slides, because when I looked at Facebook, I went, oh my God. So these are, the other day, this was just taken, it was quiet, peaceful, Cyril Sabota Lane, not anymore, youth soccer. Let me see here, there it goes. This is just this things, we're opposed because he did not communicate to the neighbors. Yeah, he said he's putting up a soccer field. We're like, great. I put up a football field in the backyard for my kids. We put up a swimming pool at one time, but it wasn't for the whole, you know, everybody. We all do things for our kids. It's not suited for this current location. It's not compatible at all. It's loud, it's noisy. It's not only kids, there's kids there. The other day there was a wedding. I don't know what's next. Their privacy has really been compromised, and you'll see these in these pictures. They're retired, we're very private. My mom's scared to sit on their back porch, to use their clothesline, to pick raspberries or walk into their kitchen or piano room, because the light shines right into it. What's next? I mean, it's an expanding business. They need to relocate. We all love kids. We're educators. It's a great idea, but great idea helping the kids, but not suitable for this location. And then later, there's a change of use. This conditional use permit is only for 0.3 acres, as I understand it, and I could be incorrect, but there's so much more that's been taking place there. This is how it all started. There's a little video. I don't know if you want to watch the construction of it. I don't know if it will. Is this what I point to? Oh, no. There's a video on Facebook. It should be connected. No, it's not working. But there's a video how he shows.
Point to that other.
Pardon me?
Point to the little.
Blue?
The little.
The one behind you.
The little.
Behind you.
The little, he's saying.
Can I just see this? But this looks pretty professional to me. Doesn't look like he's rolling out something for his kids. And I teach his kids. But this doesn't look like a video that you put on Facebook. There's also a video, and I won't show you it, of him putting up the scoreboard, putting up the bleachers. That's Malashevsky's across the way. My dad's over on that side. My parents put a shed on both sides of their property and pine trees, so they have their privacy. And I mean, we don't have to watch the whole thing, but you get the idea of it, unless you want to.
How long is it?
A minute, but it just shows the whole construction of it. I mean, but if it's,
I don't know, Kellen, do you want?
I mean, you get the whole idea of it.
I think we got the idea, yeah.
I gotta get out of there. How do I get out of there, Rich?
I'm pretty.
Go back to that. Usually mine X's out. Where are they?
Can you just X out of it?
Zero.
Arrow, help. Yeah, maybe one of those. Samantha, come down. Escape, maybe? I usually just go there. And there, X, there, go there. Yeah, okay. There we go. Sorry. What I've circled up there, no, I can't really see it. This is it over here. It's just saying it was for the kids, but now here I have circled its coaching sessions, a small group sports clinic. To me, that's not for locals anymore. And if you notice that light, that's my dad's barn right there. I'd sure be afraid if that thing would ever go down. More things, athletic clinics, blue chip athletic clinics, sports leagues, field rental. The blue chip, I'm like, what the heck's blue chip? My sister brought that to my attention. What a blue chip is, it's a network that connects the FaceTube, YouTube. It gets you more exposure, and it brings in college recruits to see these kids. That's great, but it doesn't sound like it's just for the local kids anymore. Sounds like it's becoming something bigger than what it was intended. Again, soccer clinics, and then message him privately, is that to discuss pricing? I think this all has to be for a cost. I mean, you know, and again, the bright lights, and you can see it, there's my dad's place, there's that. It shines right into my mom's kitchen. I mean, bright lights that they used to sit on their porch. Dad used to let his horse graze in the lawn. He doesn't want to do that anymore. He locks his horses up now. This was the scoreboard day. I mean, it's a big, you can see a big elaborate scoreboard. Doesn't, I mean, good for his kids. I mean, we never even took score, I guess. Again, that's nice. Again, bleacher day. And the one thing now over here, you can't really see it, but it says the stadium seating is now ready for all the Rowdy fans. So the noise level, how many people are we expecting? I don't know. And again, clinics, events, open field nights. You know, and like I said, I hope the shed never goes down. And here, from sun up to sundown, no break. I mean, all day long, no break from the noise. No nothing. Here, Ben told my dad to tell the county that the field is being built for his kids. There are no friends, you know, the date of this post was April 13th of last year. This is over a year later, and he still doesn't have any permits and keeps going. Here they had concessions, the PTO came out. Awesome. I was on the PTO, I raised money for the kids, but this is not the place. Local kids, they hosted kids from Caledonia, Alaska, Toma, all over the place. They had a battle of the barn, and this was $100 per team. So, I mean, there is some money being made, but they also do donate, so I do appreciate that. Now they're advertising, this business has plans to expand and is benefiting only them. And that's great for them, but it needs to relocate like any other business have to when they expand. If his intent was for his kids, that changed direction. So if your business changed directions, you better find a better suitable location that can handle that. And right now, they said they want a media marketing specialist. They're looking for someone with photography and cinematography experience, as well as knowledge in social media and marketing. Duties will include, and I can go on, you can read that for yourself, we have copies. But I mean, this is a business. This is not for his kid and his things. It's changing. All this is changing. This is a great opportunity. He just got a guy from Honduras to come in and, you know, help these kids. That's neat. They had an idol to look up to. So cool. But the funny thing, I thought, they registered in town at Shank Park. There's a soccer field there. Then the high school kids played on the high school field. I don't know. I mean, Shank Park doesn't have lights. Our soccer field has lights. If it's not the same kind of field, we'll move your goalies. I don't know. It's just all these questions. This, I mean, all of this that you guys have for Trempealeau, you know, the town gave them that. Proposal for improvement versus newly constructed. He's asking, it's already done. I'm not aware of any permits. There's supposed to be petitions. We never signed a petition. How come we didn't get asked to the town meeting? We never were told. If it's online, my parents aren't on the computer. I mean, so many other things. When did land management get informed? Will the building be used? I mean, right now, I have another slide coming up for that too. This is a place in Boston, Wisconsin. Is this the future of the farm? If so, there are no neighbors that it's affecting. What are their future plans? Is it to be that? I can't put words in his mouth. Close, there's my dad's desk. This is the edge of the soccer field right there. I put that picture in, but that's my dad's fence. So if a ball goes in there, I mean, he even saw somebody feeding the horse, holding a little kid. Like Darren said, what's the liability? I mean, what if you have a horse that kicks? I don't know. Is dad liable because they went in there? I mean, what are they feeding? We don't feed our horses treats. I mean, loud music. We don't even see deer anymore. There's no deer or turkey anymore because of all the commotion. This is a picture of the soccer field. There's one of Dad's horses, right there. I mean, here's another one. There are the horses. There they are. I mean, it's not, you can't really see. This is better. Bright lights, bright lights, bright lights. Shines right into their backyard. Here's some more. Lights, bright lights, bright lights. More bright lights. This one, where is this video taken from? It looks like on top of a building. So at that point, they can see right into the backyard. What about a zoom lens? Can they see right into the kitchen or the piano where mom and dad are? Maybe they'll see that dad's watching a cowboy show, I don't know. I just think, you know, does this look compatible use? There's mom and dad's house. That's where they sit. If you look, but if this is right there, that's where they sit on the porch. That's my mom's clothesline. I mean, we're private. We say we still change in the closet, you know? It's right here. It looks like these guys are looking, player and photographer. Can they see in their backyard? Probably. We don't know. This is what he applied for. So the current conditional use permit was for 0.3 acres. And then somebody said change of use mattered. Well, the rented parcel that was planted with alfalfa last year that was rented by Darren is now a parking lot. The old shed change uses, we heard it's a basketball court. The shed change uses, they used it at the wedding. So with without these changes, it should be approved. He needs to follow laws. Currently has been operating the past extent of this application. That's not what he's been doing. It needs to stop. And it just says, put yourself in our shoes and stop this. Please help us to protect the place we call home. And I just have a closing. And as parents, we do a lot for our children, and Ben does. We cement in basketball hoops, we swing sets, swimming pools. But building an over $200,000 soccer field for his kids and friends seemed a bit odd. But Ben reassured my dad that it was for the kids and his friends. How can believe what he says? What's next? My parents did so much for my sisters and I, not to mention how much they care and love their grandparents. They have worked hard over 50 years. And now in their retirement, you're taking away their peaceful sanctuary and turning it into a loud, noisy, high-traffic zone that profits only Ben and Suzanne. Not to mention the hunting land and horse pasture that has been compromised. Would you like an athletic complex next to your hunting land? Would you like random people petting and feeding your animals? I wouldn't. This field could have easily been built anywhere, and both kids and their businesses, the hotel and the Airbnb, would have had the same result. But instead, he went behind our backs, it feels, your backs, the town's backs, to get his way. My parents and others lost a year of their life for COVID, and that's why he said he built it. We couldn't hug Dad for a year because he had heart surgery. He's still tweaking some things. Right now, my mom has been crying every night, in anticipation of how this could turn out. And I promised I wouldn't cry. And what the field has done, it wears on them. They're not getting younger, and he never once thought how this would affect them. Good people matter, and anyone would be proud to be their neighbors. We do things for our kids, but also need to protect the older generation. And that's why this is long, sorry. My sister, brother-in-law, and I are educators, and together we have over 60 years that we've dedicated to do what's right for kids. We are parents, and we watched our kids go through athletics. We have been educated throughout our years and are advocates for getting children involved and know how the importance of keeping children active is very important. We support Ben's efforts. Kudos to him. However, it's just not a compatible site. This was, to us, it was very planned, very strategic effort on his behalf. There are other locations that would be a good fit, just not in this neighborhood. It's not fair. I do wish you the best, Ben, in your endeavor. It's a great idea. Again, just not a good fit in this quiet, dead-end road out in the country. Our parents spent years making Cyril Sabota Lane their home, and in one short year, because someone thought he didn't have to follow the rules, it just changed. We are not opposed to this business. We think it's great. However, our opposition comes with the incompatible location, the lack of respect to follow laws, to inform the neighbors, and his lack of honesty in the past and future endeavors. Please relocate this business to a more suitable setting. And when you were talking on the last one, I wrote notes, neighbors, it adversely affects their property. What's their property value now? quiet, serene setting, no longer. Exterior light glare, oh yeah, lots. Affects harmony of the neighborhood, oh you bet, lots of noise. It's on this dead-end quiet. Does it adversely affect the traffic flow? It's a dead-end road. It's a narrow dead-end road. The city's equipped to handle children. I mean, increased traffic is gonna be increased crime. They're gonna know people are out there. Right? I mean, Dad's afraid to open his shed because there's people gonna see what he has inside and come back. What's going on when they're not there? Not safe for I don't think it's safe for kids out there. There's chicken trucks, there's big tractors. Noise related, of course, it's not consistent with other uses, and it does affect the natural character of this rural setting. But, I mean, we love kids. I've been in it for years. I would support that. I'd probably go watch kids there, but not in this neighborhood. So, that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Kathy. Next, we have Samantha Chapman, who wishes to testify in opposition.
Hi, I'm Samantha Chapman. I'm the granddaughter of Betty and Rudy Sabota, who live on Cyril Sabota Lane in Arcadia. I'm here in opposition to this conditional use permit. I'm a collegiate cheerleader at Division I university. I played 4 varsity sports in high school. I know exactly what it's like to want the best opportunities and facilities to grow as an athlete in your community. I spent countless hours at homemade basketball or batting cages and garages, homemade basketball courts, my friend's sand volleyball court she built in her backyard, none of which directly harmed their residential areas they were in or were turned into a business. My friend and teammate built a legitimate sand volleyball court in her backyard, and you don't see them holding tournaments or renting it out to local bar leagues because it's located in a residential area. It'd be extremely disruptive and disrespectful to the neighbors that live near them. My travel softball coach has tried for years to bring a sports complex similar to this one to my town, exactly like my mom said. And with so many people in favor of it, still with the rural landowners, that was never carried out because they respected their opinions and they prevented a facility to come into a countryside and take away from their livelihoods. I feel like the residents of Arcadia were not respected in this way. Their voice was taken from them through deceit by describing the field as an athletic field for his children. That's not what's going on here. It's a business. By describing this field as this, they knew that my kind-hearted grandfather and his neighbors would not oppose. They weren't given the opportunity to oppose this. I strongly believe that they were not able or afforded the opportunity to put a stop to this before it could happen. It's simple to understand that the extent of this business exceeds what would have been permissible under these conditions. And I think that an athletic facility is a fine addition to the community of Arcadia, but a large and growing establishment for camps, tournaments, and weddings has absolutely no place in my grandmother's backyard. Arcadia is a wonderful town that affords so many people the serenity of living rurally. Please don't take that away from these genuine people who call Arcadia countryside their home. I'm here today opposing this permit and asking that this facility be removed or relocated to a proper and compatible location. And thank you. That's what I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Next, I have Peggy Halverson wishes to register in opposition but not to testify. And the next one I have is Betty Sabota, who wishes to testify in opposition.
Good morning. I am Betty Sabota. I live at W240650 Sabota Lane, Arcadia, Wisconsin, with my husband Rudy. I'm sorry, I got that buzzer. I can't believe this is happening to our quiet neighborhood. How sad. But when our girls showed us pictures of our backyard and our horses in the pasture for the advertisement for the farm, I couldn't believe it. I have to speak up. This is my backyard, not Ben's, to take pictures of. You can see the picnic table. I read, play cards, do puzzles, and have morning coffee. Rudy's favorite is to sit on the swing. his horses and eat grass on the lawn for a relaxing evening. I have a raspberry patch I pick. I have a clothesline I use. Do I want people from the soccer field watching every move I make? Could I have a hot tub? I doubt it. Could Ben be taking even more pictures? Maybe. My privacy and trust is gone. What about the value of the property? Thank you, Ben, for hurting our senior golden years upside down. Thank you very much, and thank you, guys. I'm sorry, I
Thank you, Betty. Next, we have Rudy Sabota. He wishes to testify in opposition.
I don't know how I can follow that. Hey, guys. My name's Rudy Sabota, you guys probably know. We've lived there, Betty, for 42 years. I've been retired for 14 years, and I'm here defending our privacy. You know, at first, it was a good idea, and now it's just kind of gotten out of hand, and we had a nice, quiet place to live, and we just can't take it anymore. The lights from the soccer field, they light up our living room and everything. You can see, if you walk up by my barn where the lights are on, you can see the pictures on the piano wall. If Betty was going to play the piano or wash the dishes, everybody could watch. It's so they want. I'm not saying they do, but they could. And I just don't think it belongs there. And Ben, I like to be a good neighbor, but gosh, I just don't think I can take this anymore. There's a lot of traffic, in and out, and I'm worried about I can't even read this anymore. Look over our backyard. Why didn't the town of Arcadia check on this and anybody? I'm worried about the liability of having people feed my horses and my family and the safety of my property. It was probably said before, they can drive right by and look in my shed. I got my shed open a lot. Who knows if they're going to be taking things? And I'm not saying they would or do. It's just scaring me. And in the property value, too, what's it doing to our land? I mean, who the hell would want to buy something like that? Like Mr. Malashevsky said, he'd have never bought his with that there. And I hate saying something against it, Ben, but it's just, and even when you haul that dirt in there, that water could go on my land, and it's so damn close too. And I try to be a good neighbor, but we just can't take it. I'm starting to lock my horses out of that pen because I don't know if something's going to happen. And I'm not saying you're going to do it or what, but it's just, we just can't have that. And we just don't really want. You got a good idea, like I say, but I don't think we should have to give up our way of life just because of a soccer field. I don't know what you guys think, but I could say more, but I think I'm just going to get all choked up here, and I think it just shouldn't be. It just isn't compatible. I think on this deal here, I was looking over some of the standards for compatibility, and it's supposed to be compatible with the surroundings, and is it? I mean, I don't think so, guys. I'm sorry. It's just,
Okay. Thank you, Rudy. Next, we have Linda Rybarczyk, who wishes to testify in opposition.
Can I say one more thing?
You sure can.
The other night, in fact, I got the dates too, June 25th, there was a wedding there, which weddings are nice, but the music was playing from 5 o'clock till 9 o'clock. And it was so damn loud, Lindy's gonna say she heard it at her place and trying to watch TV. And I was sitting out in my backyard trying to just relax a little. And at 9 o'clock it went out but people were there later on and talking and making noise, which is nice to have fun, but I don't think it should be the expense of us. I really don't, and I'm sorry about that, but I just have to speak up. And thanks again for letting me talk.
Go ahead, Linda.
Morning, my name is Linda Rybarczyk. I've lived on Cyril Sabota Lane for 40 years. We live in the country to enjoy our privacy, to be able to see the neighbor's house or share a wave but not have them in our backyard. We go for walks past them every day. When this project was starting, we asked what was going on. He said it would be a soccer field for the kids since everything was shut down. We thought leveling ground and a few nets. Never in our wildest dreams did we expect this complex. I feel this soccer field and now the venue have taken our privacy and peacefulness away. Too much noise, too much traffic on a dead-end road, turning around in private driveways. The noise was so loud from the venue, all we heard was the womp womp of the music, so loud that I could barely hear the sound of the movie I was watching, and this is with the windows closed. Never were we asked or informed of this project. This is agricultural land. Where was the permit? Build first, ask later. When a chicken barn was to be built, we were asked to voice our opinion. Is this going to get any bigger and noisier? This is not right. It belongs in the city or somewhere else. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Next, I have Pat Rabarchik, who wishes to register in opposition but not to testify. And I have Paul Halverson, who wishes to testify in opposition.
I am Paul Alberson. I am the in-laws to Rudy and Betty. Ben has been very good. I'm principal at Arcadia Elementary School, and they're great donators to our school. Efforts are commendable, but what you've done to my in-laws are, I mean, this is not them. They're not confrontational. They are the best people you can find, but it's really taken a toll on them. And if it's truly for the kids, what you had said, I have 544 students in my building. Most of those kids live in town. I'll bet 85% of them. How are they supposed to get out there? There's no way. All right? And there are places in town that this could have been built.
Wait, Paul, can I clarify something? Are you saying they live in the city?
Yes.
And they need to get out to the town?
And it's not,
Or
yeah, they live in a city, they can't get
live
out.
in the city of Arcadia,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to.
So it's not equitable. You know, equity is not there. Like I said, it's a great, great, great idea. I just wish it was in a different space, because this is not them. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. That's the last that I have registered. Mark?
I do got some letters here that are probably going to reemphasize some of the points that were brought up, but I was asked to read them, so I'll just read those now, and then the letter from the town eventually too. But this letter is from Peggy Halverson. My name is Peggy Halverson. I'm Rudy and Betty Sabota's daughter. I'm writing this letter of opposition to the request by the Vasquezes on behalf of my husband, Paul, and our children. Paul and I have had dedicated our lives to children for the last 30 years. I'm a teacher at Arcadia Elementary School, and Paul is the principal. We have always been strong advocates for youth sports. Our children are all three-sport athletes. This disheartens me to have to oppose this facility since it's partially utilized by our youth. However, we are in opposition because a facility like this doesn't belong on a peaceful country road, dead-end road in someone's backyard. My parents built a house in the country to have privacy, to enjoy their children, grandchildren, and horses, in a quiet and safe place. If they wanted to live next to an athletic field, they would have built in the city. Furthermore, since this facility is several miles out of town, children are not able to walk or bike to it. They have to rely on someone to drive them. Unfortunately, many of our student parents work night shifts or don't own cars. In fact, a student told me she couldn't go to soccer because she didn't have a ride. If this was truly for the youth of Arcadia and not for making money, it would have been built in the city of Arcadia. This is a wonderful facility. Unfortunately, it was built underhandedly and in the wrong place. Peggy Halverson. This one's a joint letter that was sent to me also in regards to Dan Sukula, Larry Tamke, Linda and Pat Rabarchik, Darren Malachewski Farms, Robert Sukula, and the Sapota Family Irrevocable Trust. So Says, we oppose the Vasquez Athletic Field because they did not go to the proper channels to obtain zoning permission. They did not consult township, county, or their neighbors. When Ben was first confronted, he said it was for kids during the pandemic. And sadly, the complex has turned into a money-making facility hosting youth events, and they've hosted a wedding reception. We are strong supporters of youth activities, however, these are significant risks where the farm is located. Cereal Sabota's lane is several miles out of the city. Children aren't able to bike or walk safely. The narrow country road is full of machinery and trucks. The farm has become a business looking to hire a marketing specialist. They have charged fees and sell concessions. We were a quiet neighborhood, now we have bright lights shining, noise all hours, and increased amounts of traffic. The value of our property will decrease tremendously. People want to purchase quiet, peaceful land in the country. This business has grown and needs to be relocated. The Arcadia businesses appreciate patronage that the soccer field and tournaments and weddings will provide. We have police officers to protect our youth in the city. Increased people often mean increased crime. The town, which I'm assuming means the city, has safe sidewalks and wide roads. We need to set a precedent, and if this is approved, we're encouraging more entrepreneurs to ask for forgiveness instead of permission. And then I got one final letter from the public that was from the grandkids of Rudy and Betty, who oppose this conditional use. We grew up playing ball with our grandparents in their backyard. We also were actively involved in sports at all levels. Some of us played in all-star games and club sports in AAU at the collegiate level and attended camps and clinics. Do you know what? Our grandparents never missed a game. They loved watching and cheering for us on and off the court and on the field. The Vasquez Field is quite amazing. As we know from our years of participating in sports, this will bring in crowds. We've already experienced the noise, lights, and commotion this brings to their country farm. If my grandparents wanted to live next to a soccer field, they would have bought a place in the city. Is there a place there for Grandpa's horses? We enjoyed hunting on the 40 acres that is attached to the Halverson Farm property. Ben is an avid hunter, and we have respected, watched on several videos, and looked up to him. It's too bad that he did not respect our grandparents' land and scared off many of our wildlife. Again, the facility is nice, but not in anyone's backyard, especially our grandparents who sit on their porch, swinging and smiling at the memories, listening to the peace and quiet of their dead-end road, watching their horses graze on the grass, feeling safe in their own home, and spending time with their grandkids enjoying a Newcomb Valley pizza on the picnic table. This has been submitted by the grandchildren, Bryant Wozni, Ryan Chapman, Samantha Chapman, Chandler Halverson, Carter Halverson, Chloe Halverson, Tanner Wozni, and Chase Wozni. That's only letters from the public I have.
Okay. Okay, what do we need to do? Is there anyone else who'd like to comment on this matter?
I can read the letter from the town.
Let's do that.
And this in regards to Benjamin and Suzanne Vasquez conditional use permit. The Town of Arcadia Board of Supervisors was informed by Ben Vasquez that he is requesting a conditional use permit for his athletic field located on Cereal Sabota Lane. The Town of Arcadia Board of Supervisors unanimously passed a motion at their April 28, 2021 board meeting stating that they support this request with the following conditions. The soccer field and parking lot must be vacated by 10 p.m. No parking on Cereal Sabota Lane, and lights must be directed downward and avoid shining on neighbors' properties. Sincerely, Barbara Tock, Chairperson, Town of Arcadia.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Do we have anyone else who wishes to comment? Rudy?
The Town of Arcadia never asked us about the lights or a damn thing. You know, when they voted on that, they never asked us if we approve of the lights or nothing, or our curfew.
anything.
Yeah. What
They
good
never
is a,
talked to us at all.
Okay.
what good is a curfew when at night, late at, in the dark, I'm not in the dark, in the fall? when the lights are on at 5 o'clock, what good is that? If they're on till 9, well, shouldn't we go to bed at 9?
Sure.
Or 10?
Yep.
I mean, the town, nobody, did anybody ever come out to look at the place? I don't think. You
But
know,
was
it's-
there lights? I mean,
It's not fair.
But was it still for the kids,
to
or
put
did
us
they know
through
all
this.
this other stuff was going on? That's why I even asked the town if we could have had a special meeting before this, and they said no.
You know, what I mentioned
And
about
then,
the
you know,
lights.
include us, and they said no.
So, go ahead, Virg.
So I just want to clarify, none of you were notified of the town meeting?
No.
No, nothing.
No, I mean-
No one ever talked to us,
You know, Mike Wineski, I don't know if he, the way that I read those notes there.
I printed
that
out the town minutes.
He said it, you know, and then John, whatever his name is,
Correct.
seconded it. And would they come out there and look at 5:30 at night in the fall when the lights are on and we're trying to wash the dishes or something and the lights are?
Well, I was just more concerned, I'm sorry.
But my
No,
question
you're
to
right.
the town also, was it still for his kids, or did they see that it was clinics and camps and weddings and all this stuff? When it was for the kids, that was fine before the big lights came and all that. Like even a lot of parks in Arcadia, like that Shank Park, there's not even lights there. Because why is there lights for the kids? And then there's adults playing on that field also.
Wasn't for the kids in the fall no more. They were.
No, that's what I'm saying, there's grown-ups, there's a lot going on. And I
All right.
mean, no, it's great, Ben, but it's just,
Yeah, okay, so, that's fair. Good to note on the town, thank you. One more call?
Is this gonna get any bigger?
I don't know that, Ben?
Yeah, I just wondered if I can get a chance to.
Oh, yeah, I definitely wanted to give you a
Yeah,
chance to
okay,
respond
cool.
here, so. So, any other comments? Otherwise, we'll see if Ben has anything you'd like to, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, I'd like to go
Come on
here
up,
just so
yeah.
I can. Yeah. So first and foremost, I'm really glad that this came about. One, because we can all be together and I can look you in your eye and we can talk. Because to be honest with you, I've been scared shitless to go talk to you guys these last 6 months because of where this has gone. When we first talked, Rudy, you came and helped me pound in posts.
Yeah, he's,
Oh, sorry.
it's hard for him to hear, so you gotta turn it really loud.
Okay, but no, anyways, from the beginning, Rudy, Darren, he came and gave me a drill, a hammer. I mean, they literally helped me create
Well,
this.
yeah.
And no. Because the intention was, this is gonna be for my kids and kids of our area to come out and play. And, which it was. But it changed. And the first thing I wanted to tell you though is this is not a business. I told Suzanne from the very get-go that we built this, the money that we're putting in this, we're not building this for a return. When we started to do the money end of it, where I made a huge mistake, first of all. The number one biggest mistake where this whole thing went through is I allowed somebody to come out and have a wedding party. They came out with their kids to play soccer. They loved how we finished the barn off and cleaned it out, and it looked like a pavilion style deal. And he asked, hey, could we do a wedding reception out here, a small one with some friends, whatever, we were gonna do it in our backyard, we were gonna get a tent, but this would be perfect. And I said, well, yeah, I mean, what are you looking at, how many people? 50 to 60 people in the whatever. So I was like, yeah, let's give it a try. What I didn't know what was coming was his dad surprised him with an actual band that came out. I wasn't at the property, which was my mistake when they first, when they first showed up, I was there to help them set up. They had tables, it looked nice, everything was pretty. And then I went to Newcomb Valley to have dinner, and I got a call from my mom saying, hey, I just got a call from the neighbors that there's loud music going on at the barn. And I said, what? And so I come back, and here they have a full-fledged band going. And that is on me, 100%. I don't want that at my house. I didn't want that anywhere. And there was way more than 50 to 60 people that showed up. Again, not something I wanted at all. So that, from that day forward, there will be no receptions. There will be no organized parties at our facility ever again. And the reason I say that is because I'm a big person of privacy too. I like having that farm out there where I can just go out there and get away from everything and do my things and know the only people I'm going to see is Darren and Rudy. But where this backfired was when we started to invite kids out and we had these groups, people started to get wind of it, and then more people were interested into it, more people wanted to use it. And it was hard for me to say, no, this is only for this. This is only for this. And so I tried to open it up. And as it started to grow, I tried to make tweaks to make it safer for the people that were coming in, like Darren was talking about. We had a one-way driveway that came through our driveway right past the field, and it was good. Everybody would drove back. They parked behind the barn, away from everybody. They would walk to the facility, play, go back, and they'd drive out. But as we started to have bigger groups of people coming, kids would be playing around the field, and cars would be coming out and in, and it was just, it got safety-wise. I was like, well, why don't we just make one loop where cars can exit one way, come in, everybody knows what's going on. But like Darren said, the placement of that driveway is horrible for his sake. It comes right out and turns right into his driveway, which I totally understand. So this is another tweak that we need to change and address. But the big thing, I want to apologize 100% to my neighbors Rudy and to Betty that this was never intended to create a sense of fear, a sense of no privacy. That's the whole reason we spent extra money to build a privacy fence where our field is. It's elevated enough where nobody can see down into Rudy's because he's got a shed and trees and everything. But if you go on the back side of our barn, you can see right into their backyard, which is always a private area for them. We don't even go behind our barn, just for that reason. And so,
Well, then who's taking the pictures?
what's that?
Who's taking the
No, I'm saying before. So I would climb up.
Half the time of the day.
And yes, I climb up on our roof to take photos of
Take
people.
pictures, and I'm on the farm. Plus, we've seen your drone magazine.
Correct, but it's not with the intentions to spy on
What do
you.
you call it?
We're just trying to get a good shot of the whole facility.
And I want to stop you too, Ben.
Yeah.
If this wasn't big, why are you doing Battle of the Barns? Why did you bring a man from Honduras and if this isn't getting any bigger? So, I mean, I appreciate your smooth talking to them, and it sounds all good, and your apologies. And I mean, I can't believe I'm standing up, but what you're saying is asking for forgiveness again. You advertise for other events.
But these are
I
all
mean, you're
kid-based.
hiring a marketing director. What is the purpose of that?
Because we wanted to share what we were doing. I'm gonna be honest, I want to share it. I wanna
Share
show
with
people.
what? No, it's money. It's
With
a
other
business,
kids.
Ben. This has turned into a business. So, I mean, I want to throw the red flag a little on you.
It will not, though. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
It
We're
is.
going to.
Then why are you an LLC? Why did you join the Blue
That's for the
Chip?
protection.
What did you join the Blue Chip for?
Blue Chip Athletics. It was one of my favorite movies growing up. It's a movie called Blue Chip.
No.
And it reminded me
Blue
of kids
Chip,
coming up.
Blue Chip is
You can't-
athletics to get recruiters out there.
You can't tell me what my name is for. It's my purpose.
Kellen.
Blue Chip.
Okay,
It
it's
was the movie I'm talking about.
hold on.
Shaquille
I
O'Neal.
think
We don't want an
this is-
argument here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're not trying to
this
start
isn't
something.
what this forum is
Should be
for.
presenting their information.
Right, I
and
know.
Not argue, yes.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry.
So let him
My
respond
apologies.
to your concerns
Yes, yes.
and,
Yes.
Sorry.
So, if you notice though, the camps were all free. We don't charge any registration. We brought a Honduras guy. We covered everything for him. It was actually a friend of Luis's that he wanted to come up and work with his high school kids. So I created an avenue for preschool through 5th grade to come out to our facility and practice. And those aren't the ones that we're having the issues with. It's like what you guys said earlier. We have men's adult league out there. We tried, and to be honest with you, we tried that to see if our facility could hold up to that kind of abuse of full grown men kicking on our nets, kicking on our walls and everything. I'm not going to run that this year because of this. I was going to, but due to the fact of the traffic and the privacy issue, we're not going to do that no more. Okay, just to let all of you know, we are not doing this to generate and grow this business. This field is all that is ever going to happen right there. And I don't ever want to take it down because it's one of the greatest things my kids and I have to look forward to every evening. We leave that hotel that we pretty much live in 24/7 and we go out to the farm and we play. Last night we had 8U practice with all his buddies. We had T-ball practices there Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's the type of stuff that, yes, I want to continue doing, but it's not going to affect your privacy or anything. We're going to keep that controlled. And no, just so everybody is aware, there is no future growth with this, period. There will be no more fields. There will be no more anything changing to grow this other than just spreading the word to kids that, hey, I'm looking to learn how to pitch a baseball. That's just the whole point of my Facebook marketing part. was to let them know we're gonna have these types of clinics going on, private clinics, where I'm the one hosting the deals, and they come out and we work out. I mean, you'll have some noise of kids, yeah, laughing, playing, me yelling maybe at them, but it's not gonna be loud music, it's not gonna be profanity, it's not gonna be sketchy people coming into my front yard to hang out, okay? Because I have a lot of things in my shed. I have things that I take pride in, you know? I have 2 goats that Darren wants to shoot because I can't control them. But I apologize for that too, by the way. That was my fault. I let my goats out too much and they can.
So are your lessons free of charge then?
When we do the private clinics
sessions
that I'm
and
gonna market to,
But you have field rentals.
yeah, so that's if like a group wants to come in, which we had Rush Soccer come in, and where you talked about that all day. We still let them come in as well, but they did give us a donation for doing it, but it was not, we're gonna charge anybody and everybody. We
So
were
you're
just
not
trying
paying
to,
tax on any of this, and you're not gonna charge?
anything that we get taken in, yes, we have to pay taxes.
So did
that's
you
all.
get paid for the wedding?
Yeah, we
You
did get
got-
paid.
you got
It's
some money for
recorded.
that wedding?
We met with our tax accountant, all
Okay.
that. We have
But
to
I mean,
talk about it.
But that, so it is a business.
But that's not happening moving
So
forward.
then what about the bleachers then that you put in if it's just for kids?
That's for, well, parents like to love watching this.
I
And I'll
thought
be
it was
honest
just
with
for
you. Is that-
practice in clinics. I thought it was practice in clinics, so there's still
Yeah,
gonna
I
be
think-
tournaments?
okay.
What's that?
I thought it was just practice in clinics, so
I
there's gonna be tournaments?
I think we're gonna move forward, and we're gonna move forward in our normal process, and I promise there will be questions from the committee. I'm gonna close public comment at this point, and I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, 'cause we need to get it on the table.
We need
so
to do something so we can
I'll
discuss
make a
it.
motion to approve
Right.
it, and then it can either be denied or,
Correct. We can't actually vote until, we can't discuss until it's on the table, so we have to make a motion to approve.
but then it's just the committee.
Commit,
not-
only the committee will discuss, yes.
So if anybody else from the community wants to talk, this is their last
The
chance.
last, I think they've had plenty of opportunity at this point. I think we're gonna cut it off and the committee will take over.
Can I say something yet?
Yes.
One more, yeah.
I'm sorry, we just don't trust Ben. He says one thing out of his mouth and the next minute it's the opposite or equal or smart. He's not trusting me. I'm sorry.
I mean, look at-
I'm so sorry, but you keep saying yes, this, and you'll turn around and go home and do the complete opposite. You can do without any.
I can't hear the person speaking.
Yes. She can't
They're not
hear.
in front of a microphone right now, Beth, but.
I'm telling you.
No,
Are you done?
I mean,
Okay.
here.
Completely respect your.
Okay, fair enough. I think that'll be it for public comment. We're gonna move forward. I would entertain a motion to move forward so we can put this up on the. We have a motion from Chuck.
I
We have
made motion.
Second. We can't go through discussion without getting it on the table.
For that sake, I'll second.
Okay. A motion made in second. Any questions and discussion for Mr. Vasquez?
Can I have a question? for
You
the
can-
group? So if, say we don't do conditional use permit or whatever, is it still something that I can use with small groups of people? Or I don't understand.
I think that's what we're here to figure out at this point.
Okay, because I'm all about the not having big groups of people. That's just done. But we will still continue to have small groups.
Okay. Questions, comments from the
Mark,
committee?
has anybody been out to look at this site from the?
I mean, I was out there and seen I wasn't out there during it being in use, but I was out there and seen it.
Okay, my question, does it meet all the right-of-way requests?
Uh,
One of the pictures.
I didn't measure it, I guess, but that'd been
One of the
something I'd have
pictures
to
looks like it's
leave.
very close to the highway.
Right.
Yeah, I've been past it as well, not knowing what it was at the time, but yeah.
I mean, it's kind of
definitely.
I mean, it's not they did land disturbance within areas, but as far as the structure goes and having to meet the right-of-way setback, a fence, you know, any other person that puts up a fence can put it right on the property line, and it has to be out of the road right away. You know, the only thing that would be structural questionable would be the bleachers and, you know, things like that, but I didn't measure the setback.
Okay, so you don't know if it does meet those
Right, I mean, that's
requirements.
something I could,
Because even with boundaries between properties, you have to have structures so far away.
structure needs to be 10 feet away, you know, but a fence.
Probably is that, but I'm
could
more worried,
be-
I guess
could
I was.
be on the
look-
lot line.
I was looking at the right of way to the highway.
Right,
It looks
yeah.
very, very close to the highway.
And even the scoreboards.
It is close.
A scoreboard, I guess, I mean, we don't have anything other than a sign ordinance that maybe would address something in the scoreboard as a sign, but, you know, just something that, you know, we're gonna have to change our zoning ordinances as things like this come up. It just never was something that came up, and the only thing we could base it on was the BMX field that I mentioned when the hearing started, and that went through the whole process, but it went through the process prior to it being built. You know, it went through the process before they did anything, and then it was approved and they were allowed to do it, and now it's been dismantled and it's not in use. So,
Killian would like to speak.
Go ahead, Beth.
I did drive by there last Thursday night at 8:54 PM, and I saw at least one adult male on the soccer field and probably 3 or 4 right outside the fence area, and 3 or 4 children on a trampoline area. The lights were on, and like I said, this was 8:54 PM. So I don't know if there were children inside the enclosed area because I could not see from the road. But I do have a lot of concerns, which were mentioned by the neighbors. And what bothers me most is that this was built without the neighbors knowing anything about it, without the neighbors having this conversation at the Town of Arcadia meeting, which I believe is the procedure that's supposed to be held. And now we're coming for the CUP after the fact. And, you know, I have a lot of other notes, but I think most of it's all been covered. Also, you know, the basis for accepting or approving, there are a lot of things on there that seem that this does not fit. And I'll stop there for now.
Okay. Thank you. Questions?
Yeah, Kellen.
Comments?
You know, if we, is there a chance to table this? Because this just seems like there's so many loose ends or, you know, I guess I'm asking procedure.
I mean, it certainly could be tabled, but I guess, you know, conditional use permit is, I mean, you could have a discussion on if it was going to be allowed, you know, you could put many, many conditions on it. You know, not having any nighttime activity, or, you know, instead of having a shut-off time, you know, just operate it as an unlit facility, or, you know, have the, like, no concessions, and then the parking, I think the parking is addressed, but that has to be agreed upon with Ben and, you know, the committee, and, you know, try to appease what the neighbors would be happy with, and it just doesn't sound too hopeful as far as them being pleased with any of it, which I would understand, you know. But the only thing we could do is put conditions on that we would feel that might address some of their concerns, but still allow, you know, Ben to have his facility. Or we could treat it like some of the ones we've had before, where it was like a conditional approval of the conditional use, where you come and revisit it to see if some of the conditions that were put on are working and they're feasible. And if not, then it could be totally, you know, the conditional use permit could be revoked at that time. It's just something that's, you know, it hasn't been this contentious for a conditional use since the sand mining days with neighbors that expressed their concerns, and, you know, they still ended up approving the sand mine. In some cases, it never even came to fruition, but I guess, I think the only thing we can do at the zoning level would be either deny it, and he would have to discontinue the use. You know, if he did it for his own, like, we have a person that has a baseball diamond, and at this time, it's only been proving that he uses it for himself, you know, and that's something that would have been allowed, but then that's something that'll probably come up in the future, well, that's no longer being used for that, you know, that's just, and, that's, I mean, that's the only thing we can really do as a committee, and from a zoning standpoint, is try to address it on a conditional use, put enough conditions on it where if the, you know, the neighbors would be appeased, and then Ben would be happy with being able to use his facility, but that's, I mean, that's pretty much all I really think I can say about it. I mean, as far, I mean, we're kind of at a loss of, because it's just not an item that is specifically addressed in the ordinance, you know,
And I think having the conditional use permit as a line is a tough call. You
Yeah.
know, what uses, you know, bring it up to that line, and which uses, you know,
oh, for
go
sure.
over
I
it.
mean, I
That's
know,
where
I mean, their biggest concern, one of them was the lighting. Well, the easiest one with that would be no nighttime, or, you know, no activity after that would require lighting or something. You know, Wrigley Field didn't have lights forever, you know, they played their games during the day, and,
Make it work.
and it worked, and now it's lit. But then, as far as noise and, you know, screening, you know, there could be some additional screening to screen, you know, privacy for the neighbors, but, you know, that's not very feasible in the front of the house, you know, for Darren's property, but, you know, there could be, it's just something where it'd be hard, it's gonna be hard to kind of try to find a common ground to satisfy everybody in this scenario.
Mr. Wallach?
I think the town of Arcadia needs to get involved in this also, because what they did is they approved it with some conditions already.
Yeah.
But those conditions were approved without the consent of the
I have a- yeah, just a
surrounding
general
people.
question.
So I think we need,
Can we send it back to the town?
well, we did deny it, and then tell them, yes, come back in the future, once you have
Worked
it out with the neighbors, the town board, because definitely the town of Arcadia has something to do with this. This
It
is,
should.
I'm sure it's new territory for everybody.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, it's definitely new territory for them too, and
Right.
I mean, they, you know, maybe it's a learning experience in some towns that, you know, maybe they should go out of their way to inform neighbors instead of just posting a agenda, you know, but that's their business, and that's every town's business is different, you know. Some townships, you know, there's one in particular that would have went around and, you know, had the applicant
Town
basically
of
poll the
Trempealeau does
neighbors,
that.
and they vote according to that poll, you know.
Yeah.
If 20 people said no and 19 said yes, they would say no. You know,
Yeah.
that's how the town voted in that case, you know.
Yeah, they make an effort to contact every.
But that's just how, you know, that's how their businesses chose to be, you know.
Yeah.
It's not a requirement on our end to tell them how to run their township.
But I don't want to put conditions on it after listening to this for just an hour. This needs to be looked into in a lot more detail. The noise, we haven't hardly mentioned that yet.
Right.
That was a big concern of the local people out there.
Can
So,
we
do you need a
go to
conditional
public
use
again?
permit if you just use it for personal use?
No, he
Obviously
doesn't
not.
need a conditional use for that,
No.
but
I'm
that would
just
be,
asking.
that'd be something that, you know, I like to try to believe everybody too, but sooner or later, it doesn't end up that way, you know. Like the
that's
individual
why
that
he
built the
applied
ball
for it.
diamond, I mean, his kids are in the baseball, and he built a diamond, you know.
Well,
and
no, I'm just wondering
So far,
why
it
is
hasn't
he-
been an issue, because it's just been built, you know.
But why is he applying for one if it's just gonna be for personal then? So obviously, yeah.
No, he wouldn't, if it was just, if you built the Field of Dreams in your backyard and just used it for yourself, zoning would not be involved with it. The biggest thing with zoning in this case is because of the public nature of it.
Sure.
I was going to suggest that perhaps the committee should go through that basis for approval.
Sure. And,
And then we can offer recommendations after that.
let's, why don't, I'll ask, and I'd like the committee to maybe answer the question, whether we feel like it'll work or not. So, whether the proposed project will adversely affect property in the area.
I guess we're not appraisers, so that's a tough call.
I think it's plausible. Whether the proposed use is similar to other uses in the area. Whether the proposed project is consistent with adopted Trempealeau County plans or any officially adopted town plan. Provision of an approved sanitary waste disposal system. We haven't even gotten into that, to my knowledge. Right. Where are we
That could
doing
be,
porta potties?
that could be porta potties, or it
That
could
could
be
work.
something a little bit greater than that.
Sure. But yeah, we haven't even answered that. But provision for potable water supply, drinking water. Provisions for solid waste disposal. Whether the proposed use creates noise, odor, or dust. Definitely some noise. Provision of safe vehicular and pedestrian access. It kind of sounds like that's somewhat been addressed. Whether the proposed project adversely impacts neighborhood traffic flow and congestion. It definitely does.
Well, I don't know, is that road, if it stays personal, it does. But if things are gonna happen, that road doesn't sound like it's constructed to handle two-way
It's a
traffic.
narrower road than
Yes.
probably most would be required to be nowadays.
Yeah. Adequacy of emergency services and their ability to service the site. I think that's probably fine. Provision for proper surface water drainage. Whether proposed buildings contribute to visual harmony with existing buildings in the neighborhood, particularly as related to scale and design. Whether proposed project creates excessive exterior lighting, glare, or spillover onto neighboring properties. It does do that. Whether the proposed project leads to a change in the natural character of the area through the removal of natural vegetation or altering the topography. Whether the proposed project would adversely affect the natural beauty of the area. And whether the proposed project would adversely affect any historic or archaeological sites. So, I think after going through those questions, there's definitely a number of issues that need to be addressed. I think the question at this point is, how do we want to address them? Do we want to attempt to set conditions, or do we want to send it?
Okay, just my point, I'm in favor of voting no, but tell them to come back after they have this worked out better with the neighbors and some rules from the township, and maybe with input from the county even also.
Yeah.
That would be my personal, yes or no. Right now, I'd say no, because.
Okay.
Killian feels the same way. I think there's a lot to take into consideration here. It's just unfortunate that this is built, and, I hate to say no, but at this point, I think there are too many things that have to be discussed and looked at, and I would need to have a further inspection other than just driving by, one night at 8:54. So I would be voting no and have them go back to the town and the neighbors to address these things at the town level first.
I got a question on Beth, and is if you table it, that means it just comes back, instead of voting no and denying it, but that would mean he'd have to reapply for a conditional use permit. How is that? I'm kind of new to this too, as far as, protocol of, if it's tabled, we can always bring it back and just continue the conditional use that he's applying for. That's my understanding.
Conditional use cover basically commercial, because he is soliciting for
Different.
services. So is that different than just a conditional use?
Yeah, I would say it is. I mean, when we look at our table of uses and try to find whatever they're proposing, if it would have fell, like, say we would have rezoned a commercial, then he would allow the, but we don't put conditions on on commercial. It just has to meet the definition of a commercial and then there would be no conditions, you know. Sometimes that's why it's better to have it under conditional use, because you can address all those conditions. Because if someone gets zoned commercial, you know, they kind of have free will on what they can do with their property with very limitations, very few limitations.
Mhm. So you looking at the resubmission?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the same thing, so, a resubmission is, to a conditional use permit that has been heard and decided shall not be eligible to be resubmitted during the 6 months following the decision. The 6-month period may be waived by the zoning committee, provided that the applicant submits a written report identifying how the new application differs materially from the previous application, or identifying substantial new evidence that will be offered, and provided that the zoning committee votes by a simple majority that the changes or new evidence would be of such significance that the committee might consider changing the previous decision.
I think they're telling us either we grant it or deny it.
I think we can deny it and still hear it whenever, you know, we can get on agenda, you know, assuming that the
I think,
material
I'm just saying
changed.
that he would have to reapply, you know, if he gets denied, he would have to resubmit.
Yep.
We wouldn't have to wait 6 months, because
We
the
could do
committee
it.
could say, no, we're not gonna wait 6
Right.
months. I guess in that, I mean, I guess in Ben's best interest would be, talk to your neighbors and see if they would ever be acceptable of what's going on out there, and come back with, you know, some conditions that are much more than what the town had come up with. And I can reach out to the town and, you know, see what their input would be on it, but I guess, you know, the biggest thing is the neighbors have to be, you know, I don't know if they would want it, period, you know, even with conditions, you know, and it sounds like not, you know, and, but, you know, that's an avenue we can take.
I mean, is that something we can talk about now while we have everybody? Because once we
I
scatter,
think in
everybody's
the
got
interest of our meeting
busy
here, we
lives.
had.
I mean, if I would just, you know, have a little meeting, you know, with yourselves and try to address, you know, what conditions everybody would be happy with, you know, yourself and your neighbors. You know, do away with the things you said you're gonna be doing away with, like you know, the weddings and all that sort of stuff. Consider not having a lit facility, you know, just, that's a consideration.
Mhm.
Just to try to appease, you know, their privacy, you know, that's, you know, it's their right to be concerned about it, you know, I would be too, if I live next to a mine, you know, and then we all have our say in it, and we have to live with whether, and I guess once it gets approved, you know, then we're taxed at the zoning level of making sure the conditions are being met. That's kind of why we want to see everything kind of ironed out too, you know, and I guess the best thing would be is to just have a meeting, you know, at a neutral location as your community, or your small little community, and see where you can work with each other on it. And I guess if you can't meet that, you know, you might have to consider a different location, or just plain old just use it for yourself, you know.
Go, you know,
Randy.
I might suggest maybe going back to the town of Arcadia, because that seems like a step, without that public hearing at town of Arcadia, kind of really put us like in a spot, because we don't know, you know, what has been said here, that, you know, what they heard that day, and so that to me would make me feel a lot better if you went back there, and I think that would be an appropriate place for that discussion.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess my big thing was, do I really even need a conditional use permit?
How
We
far
obviously
back?
all have acknowledged
Yeah.
that this went way above beyond anything I was planning on doing, and I want to scale this back. But can we agree that if it's just, so it's not just me and my family, obviously I coach different teams of youth, it's going to be other people that aren't my family but considered friends. Is that still something that we can just do without having to have a full-out conditional use permit? Because it's not going to be a business.
I guess in my opinion, I think the conditional use permit would, I would still want to see that route taken, just because of, you know, I would say no conditional use would be just yourself and your children playing in the backyard with something that was built. When you start getting other children involved and bringing in other people from the community, I mean, that's something I can, you know, we can, you know, discuss more in our office, but I think right now, I think it'd still be conditional use at our level. That's just my opinion at this point right now, after hearing everything that's going on, I think I'd rather see the county involved just to try to keep the peace and make sure it's being done correctly without it affecting neighboring properties. So,
Yeah, I think that no, go ahead, Kurt.
My mic doesn't work.
Oh.
So just to, Mark, just your feeling is then you're saying deny the conditional use permit?
I would say, if you're not comfortable approving it, either deny it or table it.
Well, I was
and
just
then
wondering because
go
if
back
you-
and discuss it at the town level
Yeah.
even more greatly, and then give them time to discuss this internally.
Yeah,
What-
well, the only thing I was looking at is if you deny it, you gotta give the reason for denying it.
Correct.
Well, there you go,
Or
right.
if you table it.
That's
then-
kind of why I was looking at possibly the tabling route. That way, we're just going to discontinue the hearing today, and it would just be continued and decided upon later. But that's up to however anybody in the committee
A
feels.
motion was made, you made a motion to approve.
Except, I made a motion to accept, that was to get it on the table, so.
Yeah.
To discuss.
But we could vote, there could be a motion out to table it.
Yes.
And then if it's tabled, then we're done. If it's not tabled, then we go back and,
Either way, we could come back, if it's resubmitted, it says 6 months in there, but we do have.
We can
well,
wait
and it said
whatever.
right in the.
And we can just say, hey, we're
explanations
not
that
going to
we
wait
could
6
waive the
months.
6
To
months.
make a decision, it has to be, it would have to either come back to the committee and they would decide whether to rehear it within 6 months or it sits for 6 months. It says if an application is approved, such application shall include an accurate and complete description of the uses permitted, including all the conditions attached. If the application is denied, the reasons for denial shall be stated, and that's usually done in writing. Because
Right.
we have been challenged.
Just to go back, what you said there is, we haven't listed all the things that could be done. We've been all talking about all the negatives right now. I guess I'm gonna make one more comment from a county board of supervisors. I was on economic development and tourism. One of the things we're trying to do is get more people into this county.
I think that's the fine line we've been treading lately.
Yeah,
We're-
because when people come in, they spend money.
I agree with that.
But the neighbors don't want it there.
Right.
So we want these new things to be coming into the county, make our county more appealing to everyone, and boy.
Well, we just wanted built.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. But the big picture, his idea is good.
Oh,
But
God.
Right.
not at the location. Yes,
God, yes.
yes.
Well,
No, wonderful.
We don't want it there.
Yes, exactly.
I think-
Or some other restrictions on it, yeah.
Yeah, I think you've got a lot of support in the room, even though it feels like you don't, probably, in another way. Right, I think that you're exactly right, Tony. I think, proper channels, like you said, would have made a huge difference in the direction here. And so, I would,
So
go ahead.
Killian would like to make a motion to proceed with our meeting because I'm going to have to leave at some point. So I would like to make a motion to table this until it can come back with some more resolution from the town of Arcadia level.
I would second that.
Okay.
Can we be at this
That was
meeting
Beth.
in town, or
We-
are
we
gonna
would-
find out
Yeah,
what
that'll
this
be-
meeting is?
We would like you to be at the meeting. Speaking for the committee.
Yes,
I think all of
absolutely.
us
That should
would
be
like
the first
all of
one.
you to be there.
And then
It should be a
since it's tabled,
requirement.
And he doesn't have the CUP, then he has to stop doing what he's doing.
Yeah, I
Because
would-
things have been continued,
He could continue with his private, personal stuff,
but it
but
was other
nothing,
stuff.
nothing that,
That's what I would like stated.
That
Because
would
he has
be,
other things going on.
Moving forward.
If you're looking for written.
Because there's other things
there's
planned.
6 things in the items that he does not, criteria he does not meet, so that could be
Right.
our
There are
stance.
there are other events coming up that we might not even be aware of because he knew this meeting was coming. So
we don't want them to.
I would say that we need to write that in somewhere.
I think as long as the
Until this comes back.
conditional use hasn't been granted yet, that would be the case, where
Right,
they
but-
would be held under.
See, and that was our trouble understanding, because when it went to the town, he continued doing, that's when he had the wedding. That's when he still had all these events. He planned, after the town meeting, he had the guy from Honduras come. after that, he's been advertising different things and events.
But
So-
I still say that if he hasn't done the conditional use permit, that he's in violation of operating that way under a, it's just for private right now.
So then, if
So-
something happens there, we
But-
call who do we report to? Because things have happened, like loud noise and all that. Like, I own rental properties, and they say,
Probably
oh, somebody's loud, I'm like, call the police.
Probably Corp Council, the Corp Council would decide what action needs to be taken.
So call one of you guys, not the police?
Call
Mark first.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Call
we need
me.
it documented.
Call me or email me.
And then you refer to Rick.
Well, no, we're gonna need it documented because it's gonna be our word against his. So I'm saying then, we don't wanna make, we don't want that feeling between neighbors. But right now, it hasn't been a good past experience is what we're saying. And even, he never had the CUP, but he treated it like he had it. We had weddings, we had all of these events go on. He continues to advertise on Facebook to call
Jillian
them.
would like to put in a point of order here.
Yeah, let's,
We're
go
on
ahead.
topic of the motion.
Yeah,
I could amend my motion to say that we will table this until we get input from the town of Arcadia with more conditions and specifics, and that this, in the meantime, everything would be for private use only.
I would still second that. I would amend my second, make it my second with your amended motion.
we have motion made and second to table it, and,
Do we have to vote on the amendment first?
No.
Friendly
friendly.
amendment? Yeah, I'll put a friendly amendment for the minutes.
Okay. Any discussion on tabling?
So now we can still host a private gathering where it's a private invite of people I know who are coming out, not a random public.
It's
Well, no, here's my
Private use.
Private use, I mean, that's the blanket term.
I guess he needs a definition.
So I can't have friends over.
Well, we
Yeah.
can't tell you can't invite friends to your house.
Right.
So we can
Yeah,
have
I mean,
those-
I would say
Private
private use
use.
for friends and family and, just, get the town and everybody involved as quickly as possible so we don't run into the problems of it not being used the way, the private intent to use and.
Well, then,
Well,
could he
I have
have
one
like a
more question.
register of those names then? If it's friends? We're not trusting him right now, sorry.
I mean, the conditional use was the use of what it's not the type of people or, it's just the use of the property as something other than private use. And as far as, if it's clinics or,
That goes beyond.
We're trying to avoid a big group gatherings.
Right.
That's 100%, that's what I get. But I'm still going to host things where I am in control of who comes out in our smaller groups.
Private
Because
use.
I know
Private
everybody who
use
comes
is
out.
private.
Now, one that might be a gray area that I need to know so I can let them know, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5:30 to 6:15, we have a T-ball team that comes out and practices. Those are not technically my friends because I'm not coaching them.
Is your son on the team?
No, he's a little older than that, so it's not my friends. Do I tell them they can no longer come out to practice?
I would say that that is correct because
I
it's
just need
not
to
your
know,
family.
so I'll call them, let them know.
Beth is speaking.
Go ahead, will you repeat that, Beth, please?
I would say no, unless your family has to be participating along with whoever is there.
So if I'm one of the coaches, is it,
Private
okay?
use, your
Okay, so nothing can happen without me being present. That's considered public? I don't know if this is Can she hear me?
I guess that's what I would say.
Okay.
Your family, you and your family would have to be involved.
Friends.
Yeah, see, he's getting around it again.
Right.
Yeah.
Point of order, it's,
Well,
okay.
I'm trying
so-
to get around it for the
He doesn't coach
specific
it, and his
purpose
kid's
of why
not
we
on the
did it.
team.
If
Not
there are
friends.
problems with the neighbors, they can call Mark so things can be documented. Because I have to leave, it's past 11:30 and we have other things on the
Yes,
agenda.
I know, we need to move on. Go,
Yeah.
Kurt?
The only thing is, we tabled this. We haven't made any conditions or anything, right?
Right.
But
correct.
as not approving a condition, the way I look at it is, he's got to go
Okay.
back to private.
Correct.
So that shouldn't be any question.
No,
We haven't done anything here but tabled it.
correct.
So I think we should move on and get the vote. and-
Good.
And we have another applicant waiting.
Yes.
We got
Let's go, call the vote on tabling, all in favor of tabling, this conditional use permit, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Wait, who's that?
Just a delayed aye? Opposed?
Motions out there. First it was.
No, but we're acting on the
Motion to
the
table.
motion to
Motion-
table.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the other motion will fall off. So,
Okay, so who voted in opposition of
I did.
tabling? There was just one or two?
Just one, just
Okay.
myself.
okay. Split vote, but motion carries to table. Based on the committee feedback here today, I think you need to re-talk to the town and talk to these people at the back of the room and see if there's any, what could be workable or not workable with them. If you're gonna come to terms with the people back there, I'm pretty sure you can get the committee's support.
Who's gonna talk to the town of Arcadia? We should probably, Mark?
I'll reach out to the town of Arcadia.
You did?
I
already?
will.
Oh, you will,
Mark will.
okay.
Mark will
Actually,
follow.
George could, but he's kind of left out in the
No,
dark
he's
on
out
this
now,
one.
so yeah, let's have
I'll
Mark.
talk with Barb or somebody at the town and
Yeah.
Okay.
say that we tabled it and, you know, they're gonna come back to the town for discussion. I'll reach out to them.
Yeah, and they need to be made aware of
Okay.
these, 16 points if it's gonna come.
Yeah,
back.
I'll send that to them.
Well,
That's for our standpoint. I mean, they could certainly use it as a reference.
Right. So, with that, we're gonna move on.
Julian
And,
had to go to the other room to get the rest of my equipment since I had to change locations. So I'll be back in a minute.
Will the town set this up then and contact us?
I'll make sure, that- I mean, you're gonna have to, you know, request to be on their agenda. So I got your email, I think I got your phone, and once I talk to them, I'll let you know what's going on, and then you have to reach out to them, or somebody have to reach out to them to be on their agenda to discuss this again at the town level. So, and I think it would have to be yourself, but that'd be my opinion.
okay. All right, let's move on.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Okay, what do we have? Beth is still getting her stuff. Craig Edwards.
Yeah. Yeah, how do you know what I'm gonna talk about now?
Well, I told you it might be a while, and it's gonna be this long.
Good luck, Ben.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta have some morning nutrition here.
I think I need more than that.
Thanks for being patient, Craig. We apologize.
That was kind of interesting, actually. A lot of emotion.
Absolutely. So, is Beth back yet?
Well, you could call the hearing.
And I'm back.
There she is.
I got the things to read.
Okay, so we'll start on item 13, public hearing for a conditional use permit for Craig J. Edwards, petitioner. Craig J. and Kendra L. Edwards, landowner of Oliva, for a home-based gunsmith business in the town of Albion.
There will be a public hearing held before the Trempealeau County Environment and Land Use Committee on Wednesday, July 7th, 2021, at 9:25 a.m. in the County Boardroom, Courthouse, 36245 Main Street, Whitehall, Wisconsin. Purpose: to consider a conditional use permit for home-based gunsmith business. Location: southeast quarter of the southeast quarter, section 6, town 24 north, range 9 west, in the town of Albion, Trempealeau County, Wisconsin. Parcel number 002-00113-0005. Hearing requested by Craig J. Edwards, petitioner Craig J. and Kendra L. Edwards, landowner, Oliva, Wisconsin. Your attendance and comments are encouraged at this hearing. If you are unable to attend and have any questions, please call Mark Carlson with the Department of Land Management at 715-538-2311, extension 259, or email to Mark Carlson at County Trempealeau, Wisconsin, US. If you are unable to attend and desire to submit a written comment, please send your written comments to Department of Land Management, P.O. Box 67, Whitehall, Wisconsin 54773, or email to Mark Carlson at County Trempealeau, Wisconsin, US. Please know that written comments will be read at the public hearing up to 250 words. All written comments must include the name and address of its author. Any special interest groups or expert witnesses will be allowed 20 minutes to give a presentation and must register at least 1 week prior to the meeting date by calling Mark Carlson of the Department of Land Management at 715-538-2311, extension 259. Sincerely, Mark Carlson, Zoning and Sanitary Specialist, Interim DLM Director.
Okay, thank you, Beth. Do we have a overview, Verge?
I got it here.
Sorry about that.
Craig had reached out to me initially with an email, and basically he says, I'm hopeful in pursuing a career in a home-based gunsmith business. I'll be receiving my federal firearms license, would like to operate on my property at N51247 County Road F, Oliva, which is adjacent to his main home. There's a structure. Internet-based business with delivery of product being off the premises, and the building consists of an office, inventory, and an address to receive product. And he will be the only owner-operator with no employees. We have had a couple of these in the past, even though every one of them is kind of site-specific. But the neighbors were informed. He's got a letter of support. I can read that during the hearing or during the public comment. He's got some support from his neighbors. I got a letter from the town of Albion. I have not received any other correspondence or any input other than that at this point, up before the hearing here. So.
Okay, very good. Well, I will call, open up for public comments. Does anyone wish to speak for or against this?
Well, Craig, do you want to add anything to that, or?
Sure.
You wanted to add?
Well, first of all, I'm a veteran. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran, not some kind of goof. I know a lot about firearms. I'm very well educated in all sorts of firearms. And how this kind of came about is I've been kind of interested a couple years ago, and I work long hours. I work usually 11, 12-hour days. And by the time I get to Shields, there's empty shelves. There's just nothing. I don't have the ability to stockpile ammunition like some people in that. And so I kind of, my kids shoot trap. They're using steel shells for trap at triple the price because it's all we can find. And I'm just kind of like, why don't I just do this? Keep it local. Basically, friends, family, and the local community by word of mouth. The internet thing, I don't think I'm going to do. I just think I want to keep it small and really small and just local, and that's it's kind of in a nutshell. Besides everything else I provided.
Okay. Are there anyone else here for public comment? Mark, would you want to read?
Sure. I mean, he's got something from here from James Tweet and also Larry Kruger, which are the budding property owners, and they had signed a form that Craig must have, gave their input, and it's I, the undersigned, own the property adjacent to 51247 County F, Oliva. Notified by Craig Egworth of plans to operate a small business to include obtaining a federal firearms license. Signature below verifies that Craig has answered any questions I may have had about the business to my satisfaction. Have no objection to Craig obtaining a conditional use permit to operate the business at the above address. He's got that one from James Tweet and also Larry Kruger. Like I said, they're adjoining landowners that were notified. And then I got a letter from the town of Albion. Craig and Kendra Edwards appeared before the Albion Town Board during its regular monthly meeting on April 13, 2021 to request a conditional use permit for their property. Mr. Edwards is seeking a federal firearms permit and will assemble and sell guns and ammunition from the property, doing business as a limited liability company. After careful consideration of the facts and circumstances, on May 11, 2021, the board passed a motion in favor of granting the conditional use permit with the following conditions: no discharge of any firearms sold at the site, no training classes to be held on the site, no firing range on site. Any firearm kept more than 1 day must be stored in a locked, fireproof firearm safe. Ammunition or reloading components must be stored in a locked, fireproof safe at all times. And Mr. Edwards shall obtain a federal firearms license before commencing business. Signed sincerely, Sherry Nelson, Albion Town Clerk.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak for or against? If not, I will close public comment, and I would entertain a motion to move forward.
I'll make a motion to approve the conditional permit with the stipulations stated by the township.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made by Wallach, seconded by Severson. Any questions or discussion for Mr. Edwards? Seeing none, I would open this up to a vote. All in favor of granting the conditional use permit for Craig Edwards, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Beth, are you with? Yeah, she's on there.
I said aye.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't.
I didn't hear either, but, okay. All right, so, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for your patience.
Yes.
Try to make it short and sweet.
That's more normal for us.
And good luck on that other one.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, so next we'll move on to item 14, which is a resolution to request the Wisconsin Counties Association to address clean water issues as a matter of statewide concern at the 2021 annual conference.
Yes, and Killian will read the resolution, as I also brought this forward. Whereas the citizens of Trempealeau County are reliant on clean drinking water and clean lakes for their health and economic vitality, and whereas Trempealeau County recognizes that clean water is not just a local issue, but is a matter of statewide concern, and whereas some Wisconsin counties have passed resolutions supporting a referendum being placed on the local ballots that says, quote, "Shall the state of Wisconsin establish a right to clean water to protect human health, the environment, and the diverse economy, cultural, and natural heritage of Wisconsin," unquote. And whereas Trempealeau County supports these referenda and is recommending to the Wisconsin Counties Association that this resolution be added to their annual resolutions that are accepted as matters of statewide concern. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Trempealeau County Board of Supervisors clean drinking water, and be it further resolved that the Trempealeau County Board of Supervisors requests that the Wisconsin Counties Association consider adding this issue and declaration to its matters of statewide concern at the 2021 annual meeting. And be it further resolved that upon passage of this resolution, the Trempealeau County Clerk will send a copy of this resolution to the Wisconsin Counties Association, to all Wisconsin counties, and to local members of the state legislature. And then this would be respectfully submitted by us, the Environment and Land Use Committee. Did I lose you?
No.
Okay. It just was very quiet.
Beth, do you want to elaborate on how this came about?
I think Verge got an email about this, and I looked at it, and I know we've been in strong support of clean water, so I thought Trempealeau County should also join in with the other counties that have done this and send it on to the Wisconsin Counties Association for their conference that's coming up in September.
That's the one you had on the email, wasn't it, Virg?
Correct,
Yeah.
yes. I think you also had in your mail packet, there was also a copy of this resolution.
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion approved. Wallach?
Second.
Second, Skoyan. Any further discussion? If not, motion to approve, all in favor of approving, passing the resolution to request Wisconsin Counties Association address the clean water issues at the 2021 annual conference, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Are you gonna pass a copy around then, Verge?
Yes, I have it.
Okay. Item 15, discussion on 911 signs.
Well, that was told by George for me to put it on the agenda. I think he's had some questions about who pays for the 911 signs and, what our process is in replacing them and stuff like that. But unfortunately, he's not here, so I can't continue the discussion.
Well, I did ask George to put this on the agenda because I was at the town's unit meeting last week or the week before, and after the meeting, and now the name escapes me. This is one of those name things that I just hate. He's the vice chair of the town unit meeting, or town unit. Tony, maybe you can help me. Is it Randy?
Randy Schaefer. Yes,
Correct,
Randy
thank. He came and asked me about the 911 signs, because in his township, some of those signs need replacing. And I told him I would bring it up at a meeting, but I thought, and that's why I wanted to have the discussion, that the initial signs were paid for by the county, and then as signs become damaged, they need to be replaced by the landowner. And, but he was concerned that there really isn't enough money in his township, and evidently a lot of the signs must need replacing. So I said we'd talk about it.
Well, I think we raised the price to $60 here a couple years ago.
Oh, I thought.
For a new sign?
Oh, I thought it was 40, but.
No,
it's
60
It was
double.
raised to 60.
It's 60 for a new sign. That's a brand new address with a brand new sign. and a
Yeah,
brand
but
new
replacement
post and
sign too
everything.
is 60, because I think Kevin was the one bringing it up or something, that if you wanted to replace it before it went into effect, it was like 30.
Well, the reason we brought it up at the town of Unity was that all of them face one direction, where the
Right.
new ones
Or-
face the
Yeah.
road, so the first responders.
Can see it from
gotta
both
stop the
sides.
sign to see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's the way they are.
Yeah, the new
The
one.
new ones are both ways now,
Yeah.
where
Right.
it's just the
Yeah.
previous ones were only facing the road.
Front
to get
facing.
stopped.
Right.
So that's why we had the discussion. at
So
town.
what was your discussion?
We tabled it actually because Randy was gonna call down here to see what it cost and what we had to do as a town. That's as far as it went. We'll have town board next Tuesday.
You know,
As far as the town to replace them all,
Well, yeah,
or what?
well, yeah, that's what we're, yeah, whether we gotta
Oh.
replace, whose responsibility it is, or who do we refer it to, like when the new ones are. I assume the owner gets the sign when he puts in the building permit application, correct?
Correct.
Right. Built into the fee.
Yep.
Kelly.
So, I mean, as far as the discussion, it's in la-la land right now.
I guess my opinion, I would give the landowner the option of what they want to do, and I don't think the township or the county should pay for everybody's sign replacement, but that's kind of my.
Well,
And I was just gonna say, whatever we do in one township, we have
Has
to
to be
do
uniform for them
countywide.
all.
Correct,
Yeah.
because we're under county ordinance.
Yeah.
so-
Correct.
so they're allowed.
So,
that-
Go ahead, Kurt.
That's what we did a couple of years ago,
Right.
was
Well, and
change
I-
it over so that the landowner pays for it, because it,
Well-
replacement signs were all landowners' responsibility after they went to the blue, because the reds faded out.
Correct.
But they replaced the blue ones, and now with the new ones, if they want a new one or damaged it, it's got to.
Yeah, me, I bought my own sign because I wanted a
Yeah.
flag style, but I mean, if the county decided to do a mass replacement of signs, that would be a decision to me between Ann Hempel, who issues the 911 numbers in land records, maybe the emergency management director,
Yeah.
and our committee and anybody involved. Before Kevin left, we had kind of discussed between Ann and Kevin and myself, perhaps with money that this department would have left over, and again, that's a county board decision, or maybe property, I don't know, or taking some of the money instead of returning it to the general fund, taking some of that money and maybe replacing 100 911 signs every year on, starting with the state highways. Because that is where you're going 60 miles an hour down a state highway looking for a, emergency that, and you gotta stop and look at those flat signs. And that is exactly why I live on State Road 121 and I had my sign replaced. Because I am on a state highway and I don't want everybody slowing down to see.
But then to that extent, getting back to ATV state trails, I believe it was passed that the club, if they wanted a trail marked, they paid for it. And I don't know if it was discussed if, highway had to install it. But if highway was under highway's dollar, or if that club had to pay the highway man hour too. I don't remember how that was.
I think
Ain't
the
that-
highway puts it in, but not you,
The
ATV club
The
has
club
to buy it.
buys the sign, correct, so it's not out of,
No.
so if
The highway
this committee
highway
has extra
department puts
funds,
it in so
well,
they
other
can.
groups want to share into that
Well,
for replacing theirs.
Yeah, but I think
these
this
are
would take
911
precedent
Yes, it
over,
should.
yeah.
These are
Um,
county
Because it's 911.
Getting back to that, maybe this is a chance to see if, if going forward, if it is something countywide and that it could be partially paid by the landowner. If it went countywide, maybe the price of the signs could be reduced a little bit and landowners, interested landowners could pay a portion of it to get the ball rolling. Instead of $60, some other portion.
Well, at any time, a landowner can come forward
Yes,
and
and pay the
replace
full
their
price.
sign for $60.
But they're making those signs up as needed, but if the county, had,
Bulk order.
all of them made, maybe it would be a lot cheaper. I don't
Well,
know.
the county highway department is making them.
They're making them, okay.
And I've been putting them up, and I don't really want to
911?
put up. Sure.
Are they highway department?
Well, that wouldn't work then, Mark.
Highway department?
Sounds like that won't work.
No, someone else can do that.
No, we make them, the highway department makes them, but we put them up.
The new ones
We
too?
take in the applications.
The ones that read from both sides?
We take in the application and the money. It goes to Ann. She actually issues a 911 number and puts it on all the layers of the GIS. Then it comes back to me, and I order all the signs from the highway department. The signs come back, Ann checks them, then they come back to Mark, and he goes out and puts them up.
Okay, but now, like if I wanted a replacement, I can get my same old number, right?
Oh, yeah.
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 $60.
Same number.
You would just have a nice, pretty
I
sign.
mean, you don't
and
wanna
have
change the
rating
address.
sign.
No.
Well, if
That'd
you
be it.
change your house, you're gonna change your address. If you're staying in the same
Well,
house and you
yeah.
want a new sign, you'll get the same address.
Is it like emergency management? Would there be any grants or any?
That all be
Anyway.
discussion with them.
So I don't know, what direction do we want to take with this at this
The
point?
ongoing.
I think it's
Ongoing thing.
not something we're gonna
Have to decide on it today.
decide on today, so.
If Tony could take this back to the next unit meeting and tell them our discussion,
I can do that.
Okay. I think we'll do that for the time being.
I would appreciate it. We'll contact Randy
Okay. We'll move on to item 16, discussable possible action on cost share payment requests and approval. We don't have any right now, okay. Quick item. Next, we will confirm our next regular meeting date, which is currently scheduled for August 4th.
Summer's going way too fast.
Yes, it is. Summer is going too fast. August 4th would be a Wednesday, first Wednesday.
I didn't think there was a heart earlier than we did.
You want to stick with our 9 a.m. time
Yeah.
Normal. So our next regularly scheduled meeting will be held on August 4th at 9 a.m. in the county boardroom. With that, that's the last thing we have on open session scheduled.
Do you have any reason to go into closed session?
We do have reason to go into closed session, so I would entertain a motion.
Okay, well, I guess we got to read it for going into closed
Correct.
session. I'll make a motion to convene into closed session per Wisconsin statutes 19.85, parentheses 1, parentheses C, to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility.
We have motion made. Do we have a second?
Killian will second. Oh, go ahead.
Severson second. Let me do a roll call vote.
Yeah, we do.
Roll call. Wallach?
Killian, yes.
Killian?
She said
Killian, yes.
Okay, Severson?
Yes.
Scoyam?
Yes.
Munson?
Yes.
Nelson? Yes. We'll give the TV department a few minutes to shut things off.
Here's the two that passed today, I think you need to sign them all.
Could I ask
I don't think I can share.
who's going to take the minutes if there's anything as far as action to be taken and the time?